Did you know?
Wait, so
What kind of toast do you
you
get?
spend $5 to $6, $7 because toast on the side is like $2.
No, I
That's
know
like
the
a-
lady. She always gives it to me for free.
Okay, so you spend $5 on 4 eggs and a piece of toast when you could spend $7 on the breakfast sampler that gives you bacon, hash browns, 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, and 2 pieces of sausage.
Yeah, but I'm not bacon's good, but it's okay. And then
So
the hash browns
it's
don't
not
do
about
much
what
for
you
me.
like. It's about spending money wisely.
Yeah, but I'm buying 4 eggs. They only come with 2 eggs.
But you also get. I think you need to have I think you need to go to a financing class.
This is Twin Stick Radio, episode 37 for September 25th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Trey Higgins, and I'm joined by Justin T. Lopez
Nailed it.
and Chris Rodriguez.
Did
I
he,
fucked
though?
up. I said it in the wrong
He
order.
looks really fucking awkward. Like he's just
Hey,
like,
just let me be. Let me be. I will get used to it. This
will
is
you?
this is like the second or third time we've done this. It's been so long since I've seen you guys. I missed you so much.
You saw us like
hasn't
4
been
days
long.
ago.
I know that was a joke.
Oh, that was a joke. Got it.
Yeah.
I understand.
My comedy tour starts next week. You can catch me in all the major cities.
At all the Motel 6s.
Yeah, all the major cities in New Braunfels. Badooch.
Good one.
Thanks.
Do you guys want to talk about anything specific at the beginning of the podcast today? Or did you get all your stories out on Thursday?
Just do the podcast.
That's
like
how we do it.
normal.
I literally ask you, do you even listen to our podcast?
Yeah, but you don't say, do you guys
Yes,
want
I
to talk
do.
about anything? You
I
say,
literally do,
What
like, every
interesting
week."
things have happened this week?
This
That's
is how
the
normal
same-
people talk.
It is not the same thing.
Okay. Any interesting stories from your week, Chris? Justin? Anything you want to share before we start talking about video games? Get it out of our systems now?
We had a shoot at the Olympic Outdoor Center in San Marcos yesterday in the morning when it was cloudy and humid, and I swear to God, I got bit by like 90,000 mosquitoes. So I have West Nile and I'm dying.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I've accepted my fate.
I didn't know there was an Olympic outdoor. What'd you say? Olympic what?
Olympic Outdoor Center.
That sounds cool.
It's literally a guy who used to be an Olympian that teaches you how to kayak. The name does not describe what the place
yeah,
is.
is there
in any way, shape, or form.
Is there Olympic kayaking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
I learned that yesterday.
No, I had no
And
idea.
he was an Olympian for kayaking.
Oh, well, you know, the guy from San Marcos who's an Olympian would be in the one thing that no one
Sure.
watches.
Technically, though, I think he's from like Ohio. I don't know. I don't know where the fuck he's from. I made that up. I really don't. I didn't pay
Google
attention to any of it.
Google it.
His name is. I don't even remember that. Don't even worry about it. Have no idea what his name is.
Was he nice?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Cool.
Yeah, his kid wouldn't shut up. He was loud. She was loud. He's like 2 years old. She's loud.
Oh, in my mind, it was like a 13-year-old that was like just
Nope.
talking a lot.
Super
Had a
enthusiastic.
cute
about
dog.
everything.
Had a cute dog. A really fluffy, fat dog that liked to get in the water.
What kind of dog?
I don't know.
Was it a
small
big dog,
one.
little
fluffy
dog?
white dog.
It was no. I didn't say white. Did I say white?
I don't think he said white.
I think
I
I
heard
said
white.
fluffy fat.
You're probably right.
Yeah. I don't know. It looked like Winston, sort of,
Oh, okay.
but fatter.
The gorilla?
And longer hair.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, longer ears, not hair, ears, but really like curly, like short. I don't know. I don't know dogs. I know what a black lab looks like. I know what a Australian Shepherd looks like because those are my 2 favorite dogs. That's all.
And that's it.
That's it.
All right, Justin. Anything you want to get out of your system?
No. I mean,
Nope.
Not
Nope.
really.
All right.
It's been like 4 days. Played volleyball yesterday. That was fun.
Did you win?
Sounds lame.
We did.
It's nice. How does it feel playing a real sport instead of a cosplay sport?
A cosplay sport. I love playing. No, like if we're being serious, I love playing volleyball.
What does it feel like to play with a stick between your legs?
Natural.
Ew.
Natural.
That's
If
great.
you guys haven't listened to us before, we are a podcast about video games. We record weekly, and we start this show with the same segment every week. Justin, what are you playing?
I've been playing Spider-Man.
Which we're going to talk about later.
Yes.
So we can probably save that for later.
I'm fine with that.
Chris, what
That's
are you
it?
playing?
No Rocket League, no Overwatch.
No, just Spider-Man.
Sounds like a shitty video gaming life.
Says the person who's played Destiny 2 for like
Yeah,
a
but,
year.
yeah, but it's a good game.
What have you been playing?
Destiny 2,
Oh yeah.
Forsaken, specifically. Haven't even touched WoW.
Really?
Yeah.
How's that?
I mean, I'm still playing it. I'm not.
Every time you talk about this game, like when we're playing it, it's like, oh, Chris really likes this, and then we sit down for the podcast, and I'm like, I don't know if Chris likes this.
It's just little things. Which I don't even think we mentioned it last week, but it's like Bungie is weighing the good and the bad perfectly for me on that scale, that justice scale. It's
we did
fucking
talk about
it's
that.
fucking
This, yeah.
perfect. So I can't be mad, and I cannot like the small things. I cannot like that masterwork cores are still needed to infuse. That once you reach a certain light level, all those powerful engrams that you can go get throughout the week don't mean squat, because they only drop at like one light level above what you are.
Mm-hmm.
So literally the only thing you can do once you hit 560 is the raid. Like that's kind of shitty, or prime engrams. That's kind of shitty. I get it. It's just kind of shitty from a casual standpoint, especially for, over a year now in Destiny 2's lifespan, where Bungie taught their player base, this is how Destiny 2 is to be played, and then they just turn it sideways. And now we have no friends that play this game.
Well,
because they can't.
They cheated though, because they were like, hey, like we're gonna give you more sources of powerful engrams. What they didn't say is we're gonna fuck over the power level after you hit 520.
Yep.
So technically there's more to do, but everything's only dropping a one light level over your power level. So if I have a 531 helmet, but my power level is 526, I'm only getting 527 engrams. So if I get a helmet that's 527, it's not worth
It's not going to
anything.
do anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
make any sense.
I mean, it keeps you playing longer.
You're
sure.
not wrong.
But the thing is what they're doing is, so like old Destiny, that's what kept you playing longer, which is why we stopped playing. But now what they're doing is they're adding a shit ton of story and a shit ton of really great in-game content, that just makes it to where it's like, man, I haven't said this in a really long time. I was super fucking excited for the reset today. Super fucking excited. Malfeasance is live, so you can get that really cool, Gambit the Gambit exotic hand cannon. There's story elements that I don't want to ruin for Ev that just delve deeper into the whole like Queen Mara shit, and like there's just shit people are finding, and that's the best part about it is reset happens at 12, and all of a sudden you go to Destiny the game or raid secrets, and you just see like I found this, and it's like holy shit, this is all just waiting to be found. Do you know what I mean? And it's really fucking cool.
Well, it sounds like then that's what the balance is. It's like they
Exactly.
they reward you with the story elements and stuff, so it kind of feels worth it. But in order to make you not feel so overpowered, they just kind of make the grind.
But it's not a matter of being overpowered, because like
not necessarily overpowered, but it's like they slow down the grind. to
Sure.
where it's
So like I told Trey earlier, it's like this new thing just opened up underneath the blind well, where you go and you do what essentially is like a dungeon. But the last boss, and he's like, man, we can do that when I get home. I was like, yeah, last boss is 590. Nope, never mind, not doing it.
That's the problem. That's my problem with the power level stuff. If it was like year one, where power level didn't affect Iron Banner and didn't really affect anything.
Oh my god, Iron fucking Banner.
Yeah, if power level didn't affect anything, it wouldn't be a problem. But right now, like the end game is in the Dreaming City, and if you're not at least 540, you're just getting fucking smashed. And even at 540, you're getting smashed.
Whoever thought power level should come back in Iron Banner in this power system economy was a fucking just, I don't even want to use the R word, but like literally the stupidest decision you could possibly have made, because there are people in this world that have put thousands of hours into this game since Forsaken came out. I don't know how they did it, but they've done it. It's impossible, but they've achieved it. So there's a dude who's level 600. Guess what? If I jump into Iron Banner at 545, I can get 2-tapped by a hand cannon by level 600. So what's the point of me playing Iron Banner? Hey, I really like that armor set, but it's going to take me fucking forever to get it, because you only get 2 fucking tokens for a win.
Which again isn't that frustrating, except for the fact that it's all based on seasons.
Right.
So if you're not 600 by the next time Iron Banner rolls around, you're not going to get any of the rewards.
And then that just makes it not fun, right? You don't ever want to do something if you're not having fun. So if I'm jumping into a freaking mode where I'm getting 2-tapped by a fucking blue hand cannon, why the fuck do I want to go play that? Nobody does.
But
which
people
also,
do, because that's people keep going back to it. I don't know, it's hard to argue against it whenever it's clearly working.
But the thing is,
look at what you're saying. It's like you're talking about how frustrating it is, and how like light level seems like almost like impossible to reach 590 or things. But you're gonna keep doing it.
But in Iron Banner, it's not working because nobody's playing it. Nobody's playing Iron Banner. People are doing the PvE stuff, and they're doing Gambit. Nobody's playing Iron Banner, so it's not working.
I watched someone on Twitch the other day, and it took them 5 minutes to match in Iron Banner.
Nobody is playing Iron Banner because of that very reason. Because Titans, who have a new Titan Charge melee that's supposed to one-shot in PvP, if you're too low, your Titan Charge doesn't one-shot anymore. That's not cool, man. That's not cool at all. Number one, it's not cool that a Titan melee can one-shot you when every other melee in the game does not.
Yeah, not even the fucking knives from a
hunter. Yeah, the knives from a hunter. Even if you have all three of those knives hit, it doesn't one-shot. And a Warlock melee does not one-shot. However, a Titan one does. Number one, not cool. But number two, on the Titan side, if you're too low a light level and you go to charge somebody and it doesn't one-shot, well, sorry, Titan melee.
Especially with the shotgun meta, you're fucked.
Yep, you're fucked.
Is there not anything in Iron Banner that like pairs you up with people that are around your light level?
You would assume so, right? But no.
No,
Bungie's
totally random.
Bungie's matchmaking's fucked.
And the funny thing.
Okay, that's weird.
The funny thing though was that back in Destiny 1, Iron Banner was based off of power level, but the power level different. There was not so many numbers between a high and low power level, so I could go in after completing the campaign and keep up with people that were at the end of the end game.
Average player right now is 530. Average.
Yeah, I'm 527.
Yeah, the average Destiny player.
You're bringing down the average.
No. I mean, it's not just him. I'm only 550 now, but I put way more time in than Trey has. But the average Destiny player is 530. But streamers that are taking part in all of this, they're almost there. Modern Tryhard 600 already. How the fuck do you get to 600 already? It's 3 weeks after launch.
And that difference between 530 and 600 is
huge.
And it has to be huge, or there's no reason to have that number be so high.
Right.
He can two-tap with a hand cannon in Iron Banner. He could two-tap Trey, which is not okay. It's just not okay.
I have 2 frustrating stories from Destiny. I'm usually pretty good at Crucible. This new Crucible meta makes me not want to play it. I was wrecked the other day. Part of it is that I don't have any good weapons because I'm just starting out. But the other problem is the fucking shotgun meta. Yeah. I got a headshot with a bow, did not kill someone.
Yeah, no, it's 2-tap first bows.
But that's stupid though, because
you can't 1-tap with a bow.
I know you can't, but it's stupid because the amount of skill that it takes to hit that one shot and the amount of time it takes a bow to charge up. But it's very rare that you can hit 2 shots.
But the problem with the bow is it doesn't take skill to get a headshot with a bow because they are extremely sticky. They are very, very sticky. It's not hard to headshot with a bow.
I wasn't having an easy time with Guardians. I can do it in PvE, but with Guardians, I was having a harder time tracking it. So when I was hitting those headshots, I was like, this is just disappointing.
Yeah, you should, and that's the thing is you should never be able to 1-tap with a bow because that would make your kill time 0.5 seconds. And that's not okay, especially when the most powerful gun in the game, which is probably like Graviton, still takes almost a second to kill you.
Maybe, but there's something they need to look at. Because, I mean, maybe it's just that I haven't put that much time in, but if we can't one-shot with a bow, then draw time needs to be lowered down a little bit.
Well, no, because the time to kill is still the same. If there's a Guardian standing right in front of you, you can get 2 shots off with the bow, enough to kill him in the same time it would take Graviton Lance to kill you.
Maybe I just felt like
that's the issue.
I felt like I wasn't ever hitting that. I wasn't ever landing that second shot because as soon as I hit the first one, by the time that I had drawn, I mean, I wasn't also using my bow in close quarters. I was using a little bit further. Mm-hmm. But by the time that I hit that first one, the guy was either gone or he was running at me with a shotgun.
Yeah. I mean,
which is the next problem with the Crucible thing is just the shotgun meta. It's not awful. It's not any different than it was in Destiny 1. But I felt like this was a problem that we had fixed, and now it's back, and it's just. It makes it a little bit less fun.
Sure, it's a little bit easier though because there's not a shotgun in the meta right now that can kill you from far away except Chaperone. So you actually have the time to kill a shotgun charger, but not with a bow. You can't do it with a bow.
I mean, I couldn't do it with a hand cannon either. The amount of shots that body shots are doing nothing. So I would hit a headshot, the guy would see me and start running at me. I couldn't land a headshot because he was moving so fast, so I'd get 2 body shots. He'd still usually be okay, and you get close enough, and then just kill me.
Sure, yeah. I think, I'm not a Crucible player, but that's why you go in with a long range and semi-short range. That's just where, and that's the thing is you haven't played enough to find those 2 guns that are real good for you. For me, it's Trust. Trust is if I can land precision shots, I think it's 4 to 5 tap with Trust. Mm-hmm. Is it? Yeah, it's 4 to 5. and it shoots fast enough that it's more than enough time to kill somebody charging at me with a shotgun. But yeah, and like bows and crucible just don't work. I mean, it works if you're fast enough or whatever.
It's just that it would be one thing if there are more open lanes, but the problem with a lot of these, it's not a problem. It's probably a good thing in the long run. There's just so much cover in almost anywhere on the map.
Sure.
That's really easy to get away from a bow.
Sure. Yeah, if I see that red light, I'm gone.
I
say fuck it.
cover.
Yeah.
My next frustrating moment, I love Gambit. Gambit is probably my favorite thing that's happened to Destiny in a really, really long time. I have a lot of fun with it. I think it's great. The other day I was on a 4-streak win. I was on a 4-win streak.
There you go.
And I get into a match, and I'm like, okay, we're going to stomp these guys. 2 people leave the match right away. They don't match us with 2 other people until we're almost at the end of the second round.
Not until the round's over with.
So I lose my streak.
Yep.
That is infuriating.
Yep.
It was to the point. And then next match I matched into, I didn't have a streak anymore, but same thing happened again. 2 people left. It is so infuriating. After that first round, if you haven't found 2 people to match in, the Gambit match should just end. Winners should get their shit, but the losers shouldn't be affected because it's just not fucking fair. And the fact that like Bungie doesn't think about this shit, they don't think about the fact that in strikes people are just standing there.
Technically, they did because if you get matched into a Gambit match. Because this has happened to me quite often. I'll get matched into a Gambit match with like 30 seconds left in the match. The team I get into doesn't have a primeval, but the other one's almost dead. You won't lose your streak on that.
That's a holdover from Crucible, which is something that took them a year to learn.
Right. And so there's precautions for that, but the same thing has happened to me. If there's 4 people and you match in and 2 leave, you're fucking screwed. You're just screwed.
There's no way you're gonna win.
Yeah. It's bad. It is, and that's the thing.
Is there any penalty for you leaving in that situation?
There's a 15-minute suspension for the activity.
So those people leaving at the beginning,
they cannot go back into Gambit for 15 minutes unless they de-seed. If you've physically opened your menu and held down that triangle button, there's a 15-minute suspension. Or whatever button you're playing, right? PlayStation's triangle.
And then you got the fucking strikes. People are just standing there walking in circles.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You can leave, and at least there's no ban in leaving.
We've said this in D1. How is there no vote to kick?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you not have a vote to kick in this fucking game?
A game that's centered around
matchmaking,
doing things with other people. Yeah.
How the
as far as anyone can tell, the report button does nothing.
Right, and that's the thing is like we have these problems, but guess who doesn't have these problems? The loudest part of this fucking community.
Yep.
No-lifers and streamers. Want to know why? Because they have other no-lifers and streamers to play with. So they don't have to deal with the shit that we deal with.
I told you, just become a Destiny streamer. All your problems will be fixed.
The majority of players here, we are the majority. The fucking 500 people that stream Destiny daily are not the majority. But for some reason, they get ultimate say. That's the community. Not their fucking community. God damn it.
Destiny. Boom.
All right.
Are you playing anything?
We're just Destiny. I mean, there's not like we talked about last week. Like I finished Spider-Man, got the platinum. Destiny is a lot of fun, but there's nothing that I'm really excited for until Red Dead on the 26th.
More like the Splatinum.
That's good. That's good.
That wasn't good. Don't give that to him. That was terrible.
You're terrible.
That was absolutely terrible.
You're terrible.
Quit
leaning to the left.
Ready to talk about the news?
Yes.
We have a short list of news this week. So that's because we recorded 5 days ago, and also 2 of those days were the weekend.
4
Xbox
days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Cool. Xbox One is getting mouse and keyboard support. During the Inside Xbox live stream today, Phil Spencer discussed the feature. Microsoft aims to use this support as a tool for developers to give them more options and whether or not they want to integrate it into their games.
They do not need to integrate this in their games.
The feature will go into preview in October and will initially be tested with Warframe, which is a good game to test that with if you're going to ruin consoles.
Yeah, it's very true. Since nobody plays that PvP, nobody plays PvP in Warframe.
Yep. I honestly didn't even know there was PvP.
Yeah,
because we never played that.
Yeah, because it's not the best part about it.
I've never played console Warframe, but I would assume mouse and keyboard is way superior.
I bet console Warframe's just atrocious.
Really?
Oh, dude.
Oh, but you're talking about like actually.
Yeah,
not running on a console, just
controlling.
Just
doing. Yeah, doing the things that you saw. It's like when we
I played.
That's what I mean. But like, it took you a minute to learn how to bullet jump. But like, while you were learning, like we were fucking thousands of yards in front of you because we're all like fucking cool ninja bullet jumping. I don't know how you could pull that off on console. I just don't understand it.
I was just button mashing and eventually it worked.
A lot of people are really happy about this from what I was seeing online.
But why?
Well, my thing is like I feel like people should be worried about this because I feel like this is the first transition to the Xbox PC. And the console no longer being available.
But honestly, I wouldn't even consider this being like the first transition to it. I mean, look at how they're doing the kind of the crossover between Games Pass like being available on PC.
Sure, but
it seems like over time they're more and more getting closer to just that.
I mean, the console's just a dedicated box that does two things. It plays videos and it plays games,
which is almost what a PC does.
But that's not what a PC is.
You can also look at porn on a PC.
I mean, PC has way more functionality, and none of that's porn. Like getting more functionality on your Xbox is not a big deal. But I think that for a while, it seems like Microsoft has kind of been like towing the line about whether or not they're going to move completely over to PC. It's not a big deal if they're still affordable and all that, but that's not. I don't think that's good for the console market.
But PCs aren't affordable.
What's up?
But PCs aren't that affordable.
Well, I mean, that's the other worry.
Okay.
It's potentially not affordable. But as long as they're still affordable, it's not awful for Xbox gamers. But it's not good to have a console market that really PlayStation dominates.
Yeah, I went gamer standpoint. Like, I'm worried about, I mean, how much of an advantage you have with mouse and keyboard. I mean, it's huge.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, too. Maybe, like, kind of high hopes here, but maybe this is going to show that some of the Xbox Games Pass games that are exclusive on Xbox might be going to PC. And then it's like you can't really make the argument that PC would have an advantage because now you could, if you wanted to, you could plug in your mouse and keyboard into your Xbox.
Maybe. I don't see this. I mean, the things that are available on Xbox that aren't available on PC, Microsoft has zero control over.
I still feel like you need a distinction, but the console and PC market have to be separate to me. To me, they do, because I don't play Destiny on PC. Number one, I don't want to freaking take the time to have what I have now in a PC version. And number two, I just want to sit on my fucking comfortable chair with a controller in my hands in front of my TV.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like the idea of a console PC fusion in a market. I mean, PlayStation's never going to do that, but moving one step forward toward that, I don't think I like it. Same reason I don't want Nintendo to go anywhere.
I mean,
I want the trifecta of video games.
I think I've talked about how I want PC and console crossplay, but the reality is that even with a mouse and keyboard, PC is always going to have a distinct advantage over consoles.
Always.
Because it also comes from a visual standpoint. In Fortnite, your draw distance, the how far you can see is significantly better than it is on console, and that gives you an advantage. Yeah. That's how it is on
that
PUBG
game looks
too.
about as good as World of Warcraft. How the fuck does PlayStation have a good draw distance?
Beats the fuck out of me.
Oh, whatever.
I didn't make it. So yeah, I mean, mouse and keyboard doesn't level the playing field. But I guess if you're excited about this, get in the Xbox preview program. To follow up on our Nintendo Direct conversation from last week, Nintendo has confirmed that if a user's online subscription lapses, they have 180 days to recover their save data before it gets deleted.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
It's 6 months.
More than reasonable.
Yeah.
Did you guys know Warframe's coming to the Switch?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we didn't cover that. It's pretty badass.
Was that announced recently?
No, but we just never covered it.
We talked about it with the Direct that it was announced on, but it was like a nothing conversation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just proves that game can literally run on anything.
Yep.
That's true.
Last week, I said subscribers, but that's not right. Pokemon Go players reported seeing and catching a weird Pokemon that looked like a Ditto with a lug nut on its head.
Nope, that says living.
That's not what
you
I
wrote
meant.
living in the
living
notes.
on its head.
When caught, the Pokemon would turn into a Ditto. Earlier today, the Pokemon was confirmed to be a new mythical Pokemon, Meltan. You can find more details about Meltan on the Pokemon Go website. The number of instances that the Pokemon appearing has been decreased, but players can still catch the Pokemon in Pokemon Go.
They're running out of ideas for Pokemon. Have you
It's
seen this
awful.
thing?
Yeah.
It looks so dumb.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. They're literally running out of ideas. I don't understand it.
So is this like an official like
Yes.
numbered Pokemon, or
It
is this like a
it is-
Pokemon
It is
Go?
the new mythical Pokemon and Go
Remember-
Eevee and Pikachu edition.
Yeah,
It is
remember-
the new mythical Pokemon.
Remember when Pokemon Go was announced? They were like, we have a special Pokemon that you can get from Pokemon Go, and it's a special Pokemon. This is supposedly that Pokemon.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I was telling Chris, it looks like a Ditto, and just looks like a Ditto with a metal piece on its head.
With a literally like a golden lug nut with like a floating eye in the
yeah,
center.
but it's not related to Ditto in any way. So
Is it not?
just seems lazy.
Because it also transforms into Ditto like once you catch it. So
it shouldn't have gone live when it went live. It should have been a secret for longer, and it transformed into Ditto because Meltan's data as a Pokemon wasn't available in Pokemon Go.
mm-hmm.
So it just knew that. I don't know how it turned out that way, but I'm assuming because sometimes you catch Pokemon and it turns into a Ditto anyways. That was the only way the game knew how to react. So it turned into a Ditto just because that was the only thing that makes sense.
It's because
amazing.
it's because Niantic doesn't know how to make a video game.
Yeah, simplification. way easier way to say what I said.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing pictures of this like on Twitter like whenever it was happening, because it was on Saturday during Chikorita
dude,
Day.
people blew the internet, like fucking the Pokemon Go Reddit had a meltdown.
Well,
Like, it was fucking crazy.
I saw it and I was like, at first I think it was a drawing of it, and I was like, I don't get this meme. Like, I don't understand what's happening. And
I
then I
didn't
had to
understand either.
and then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, people are actually catching this? Like, what the heck?
I honestly thought that was just like a placeholder image for the real Pokemon.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's the way it looks.
Nope.
Interesting.
Makes me worried about the future Pokemon. Because after Eevee and Pikachu edition, there's supposed to be a new Pokemon, like a new Pokemon.
But I don't know. It makes me curious how much say did Niantic have in this versus like Game Freak? Like,
I don't think Niantic designed this
yeah,
Pokemon.
there's no way. There's no way.
There has never been a Pokemon that's been designed outside of Game Freak, ever. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And like they like Niantic and they like Pokemon Go, but I can't imagine them giving that power to Niantic, where it's like draw your own Pokemon.
Especially when they can't even make a video game
Yep.
successfully.
I guess.
Sorry, not successfully. That works.
I guess, but I mean, even like, I don't know. I just feel like this Pokemon feels pretty uninspired, and I feel like that's not something. That,
Last generation seemed uninspired.
I think
all the
that's-
Alolan Pokemon seem uninspired.
I mean, they seem different. Like, this is literally like taking the Ditto model, making it gray, cutting off the top a little bit, and then just change it. Like,
I think
I don't know,
it's
weird.
I think it's been a problem for the last 3 generations. Like Generation 5 was the first time where I was like, these kind of look dumb.
Sinnoh?
No, that's
4?
4.
Oh,
5
never
was
mind
the
then.
one that takes place in like the New York City knockoff.
Oh,
Black and white.
That's not Unova.
Yeah, that is Unova.
No,
You're right.
Unova was X and Y, right?
That's Kalos.
Got it.
And then in fucking Generation 6, they literally have a Pokemon that's just a keychain.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, don't get
And
me wrong.
Garbage.
Don't get me
Garbage was from Generation 5.
Garbage.
Don't get me wrong. Some of the newer Pokemon, most of the newer Pokemon, are stupid looking.
Have you seen
but-
the new fucking Meowth in Persian?
Yes,
Good lord.
that's what I'm saying. They are stupid looking, but like this one, just I don't know. Like, it doesn't. I saw it and I didn't think it was real. I thought it was a placeholder.
I think it's just been a thing over time where like it started with Generation 5 where it's like a lot of these Pokemon are lame. Generation 6 it's like, oh, most of these Pokemon are lame. Generation 7 it's like all but like 10 of these Pokemon are lame.
Sure. Which is why Digimon's better.
Well, there's also not like 1,000 Digimon.
Right.
Are there new Digimon?
No.
No.
Nope. Once they ran out of good ideas, they stopped. Smart idea. They still make Digimon games, but it's all the same Digimon they had 10 years ago.
Mega Greydon.
Yeah. No, there's better ones than that.
Wow.
BL
I stopped watching Digimon a long time ago.
Beelzemon, he's awesome.
Sounds like a devil.
It is. It's literally a devil that rides a motorcycle.
On Friday, Telltale Games laid off the majority of their staff and made the quote difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges, end quote. They further announced that they plan on keeping 25 staff members to, quote, fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners, end quote. According to US Gamer, The Walking Dead final season will conclude after episode 2, though Telltale would like to continue it. Instead, sources have confirmed that the company plans on working on a new Minecraft story mode for Netflix to end their saga. A lot of lame things about this. People lost their job.
A lot of people lost their job.
A lot of people lost their job.
They went from over 250 employees to 25.
But a bunch of these people are already being hired. So to those of you who still don't have a job, like good luck and our hearts go out to you and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't know if you might have seen this. The hashtag, the jobs for Telltale, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the outreach from. I saw things from like Ubisoft and I think Blizzard. Like people were reaching out to pretty much everyone who lost a
That's
job
good.
at Telltale.
Yeah,
it was really cool to see like the community kind
I
of coming
think-
together.
I think studio closures are a lot less scary now than they were 5-10 years ago. They're sad. Don't get me wrong. It's never good for someone to lose their job. But I do think that there's enough stuff going on out there that it's really easy. It's a lot easier than it was 5-10 years ago to get back on your feet.
But I think if you were to talk to any developer, most developers don't keep the same job at a studio for more than 5 years.
That's true. They do a lot of studio hopping.
Yeah, developers hop all the time because once you're done with a game, they don't need you, so they actually
Yeah,
literally let you go.
Yeah, they downsize.
Yeah, I think like the only studio that I know of, at least in my head, is like, there's guys at Bungie that have been there for years, or Bethesda, like
BioWare Austin.
BioWare, the big like the
When
real
you're
big,
supporting a game for 10
exactly,
years.
you get to keep your job. Blizzard, most people have just once you get a job at Blizzard, you're there at Blizzard for years until you decide to leave.
Yeah.
On a plus note, at least we never have to play a game in that god awful game engine ever again.
He's been saving that for
Good
quite a while.
God,
I think I saw you tweet that out too.
I didn't tweet
you
it. I
texted it.
texted it to
Oh,
you
that's what it
guys.
was. Texting.
Yeah,
Never have to play a game in that fucking engine.
I think it's incredibly lame. I just want to put this out there, like not to surpass the people losing their jobs. It's incredibly lame that they're going to finish up with a Minecraft project before
I
they
agree.
finish up with a project that literally like made their company worth something.
I agree.
Well, I think I think the Minecraft project they've been working on. Like
It's not
that's
out
not
yet,
that's not
though.
the point. The point is they're going to finish that instead of finishing Walking Dead.
Like Walking
no,
Dead.
what I'm-
Literally the game that made them Telltale.
Right,
Walking
no,
Dead
I'm not-
episode 1 came out like a month ago. Episode 2 comes out this week. They're cutting that off to work on a project that hasn't even started like being released to the public yet. They're
Because-
cutting off their most important IP to its players
right.
and prioritizing the most popular thing that has a deal with Netflix.
I think they're prioritizing that because of the contract that they probably signed with Netflix.
Probably.
I
Probably.
think
that's
like
also that's also probably going to get them money to help pay whatever. There was a quote that came out earlier today that a financial implosion is, I think, was what they said, is what ended up happening this past year. How, I don't know. I don't know how you get into this whatever happened, especially it's Telltale.
But
It literally Telltale.
I think the problem was is that they had their things that sold really well, but then they also had their things like Guardians that didn't do too well. And so
They
what
put
ended
out
up
a lot that didn't sell very well.
what ended up happening was you had these big things that would come out and that would do really well, and then they would take a really long break and release something that's not very good or that people don't like and wait for the next big thing, and during that time they just got fucked.
But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily them not wanting to finish. I mean, it's like they said they would love to finish it, but I mean, even if you look at the quote, they're keeping the employees on so that way they can fulfill the company's like obligations.
I just
Nobody. He's not saying that he thinks they should finish Walking Dead. He's saying it's dumb that they're not finishing Walking Dead and they're going to Minecraft.
a project that we don't even know how much progress they've made on. Like, if you want to make money, why not finish the thing that you're already working on?
No, if you
But
want to
that's
make
not-
money, if you want to
but I'm
make
saying
money,
that's
go with
not-
Minecraft.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It's not dumb. It's literally
it is dumb.
how
It's
is that
very
du-
dumb.
It's a contract.
It's dumb. It's
don't
from a
understand.
gamer standpoint, it's dumb. Okay, so I take this thing right here. It's really dumb of me
We have
to
a camera
take.
now. You can show it.
Yeah, it's really dumb of me to take Trey's cough drop, right?
Okay.
However, if I'm sick and I have just as much of a cough or sore throat as Trey does, it's not dumb because I need it as well. Does that make sense? So from a outside perspective, as gamers, it's really dumb that we don't get to finish Walking Dead. It's dumb as gamers that we have to that of beloved studios going on to make something that nobody really cares about that's a fan of them.
Mm-hmm.
Is it financially like as an obligation? Is it like financially feasible, and is it a good idea for them? Absolutely. Nobody's saying it's not. But as gamers, it's dumb that we don't get to finish Walking Dead.
I think you're confusing dumb with unfair.
It's not unfair. We don't get shit. We're just gamers.
I mean,
There's no fairness and unfairness as a gamer.
I do, but I do think it's dumb. Like, because here's the like,
But it's not like they have an option. It's like
It does-
They're already closing. It doesn't matter how they finish up their company. Like at this point, what they have going on is a legacy.
But it does matter because Minecraft is probably going to get them more money to pay off whatever debts they have.
The company's still going to close after Minecraft.
But that doesn't make a difference. There's still going to be debt on somebody's shoulders.
they're
And
contractually obligated to finish out this project that they started. I think that's what it comes down to.
I'm just going to finish my point, and whether or not it's the like how a company would actually operate. It's probably a good idea that I don't own a company. I think it's dumb because regardless of how this ends, regardless of how much money they make, they are still going to be losing money, and the studio is still going to close. So at this point, they have a legacy. You can. With the shitty quality of their games, it's not hard to just finish a project. I'm assuming it's not hard to just finish a project that your fans like, that made your company, and still knock out the Minecraft story thing that will save your company.
So if you
Like,
were
with 25 people.
if you were the head of Telltale, you were the one that is financially responsible for Telltale, and you had the option of finishing Walking Dead and having $10 million in debt, or finishing Minecraft and only having $1 million in debt or less, you would still do Walking Dead.
Again, at the start of this conversation, I said that it's probably a good idea that I don't run a business.
I agree.
But I think that I just legitimately think that at this point, the legacy of the company is more important. And I also think that regardless of whether or not you agree with this statement, the fact that there is drama and the fact that there is this weird thing going on and the fact that 225 people lost their jobs and this company is barely staying afloat to complete a project, it's gonna sell units. People are going to buy shit because of this. People are buying Telltale games in the hopes of not seeing this shit disappear, or they're buying it to be like, oh, I wonder what their last game looked like that got Telltale closed. Drama sells units.
Probably really shitty.
Probably really
Telltale
shitty.
games weren't good.
But drama sells units, and if you're putting out the thing that the majority of people have played and that the majority of people are invested in, you're probably going to be slightly more successful than if you just cut it off and move on to Minecraft.
Not from a financial standpoint, no. I don't agree with that. Especially, let's be honest, Minecraft or Walking Dead, what's going to sell better? It's going to be Minecraft. Especially if it's a deal with Netflix. It just is.
I'm not even talking about what's going to sell better. I'm just saying that they have to finish this Netflix thing.
Sure,
that's what I'm just saying.
Sure,
it's not
especially since it's not like Telltale's publishing this game. It's going to Netflix for whatever that is.
I guarantee Netflix probably already paid them
That's probably what they should have done from day one, is make stories based in a game engine without you controlling the game. Because Telltale games suck, guys. Sorry. They just do.
Well,
Telltale games suck. Telltale stories, however, are fucking phenomenal.
Were they... So I never really got into Telltale games.
Oh, they're terrible.
Were they interactive enough to where you could actually change the story a whole lot? Or was the story, in the end, fairly...
Yeah, it's fairly linear, but that's not
across
the
the
issue.
board?
The interaction isn't the issue.
Well, no, I just meant it probably could have worked then for just a series. So yes, I think it could have. If the story's not that teetering on your decisions, then it probably could have. They should just made everything a series.
Sure.
Their problem just has to do. I think it has to do with two things, and I think Chris has summed this up in the past. I think it has to do with the fact that they never modified their engine. They never took the time to make a new engine, and they were releasing too much stuff. And I also think that they were very inconsistent with their release dates. So three things. I think after Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us, which were the two things that really got them on their feet and got them going, had they taken 6 months to build a new engine and make something that's worth using, and had they slowed down and been consistent with releasing a product, they would probably still be alive today.
Yep.
Possibly.
Who knows?
Yep.
But they just made shitty games. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I'll stand by that statement till the day I freaking die. Telltale games were shitty games. They just were.
They made a lot too.
They did make a lot.
I would just come across a Back to the Future Telltale game, and it's like,
Well,
why is this a
and
thing?
from that standpoint, those were just bad all around.
That's what I'm saying. It's it's almost to the point where it's like why did you decide to take this franchise and turn it into a Telltale game?
Yeah, and kind of like.
I mean, but all that was before Walking Dead. Too.
Sure, yeah.
Was it Back to the Future?
Oh yeah,
Back to the Future.
Jurassic Park. That was all before Walking Dead.
Didn't know there was a Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
one.
that one's terrible too. But even Walking Dead, it's a terrible game. It's just a great story to follow.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. That's the best part about Telltale, right? Is they just tell fucking great interactive stories.
They tell tales.
Yeah, but from a game standpoint, like I said, they're just terrible fucking games. They're terrible.
Last but certainly not least, Rockstar announced that Red Dead Redemption 2 will feature 200 species of animals, including 19 breeds of horses. According to the developer, each species of animal will react to the world in different ways. Hunting will be returning in the game, and fishing will be available as well. Also, apparently, you can interact with every NPC.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that was floating around.
I've seen that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Interact with every NPC or the animal thing.
More so the sensationalized like article of like you can interact with every NPC, and it's like, okay, but if I just go up to someone and was like, oh, hello there, stranger, and then they just keep walking, and it's like, okay.
That's not how it works.
Cool.
So like they've shown gameplay. So as you're walking through a town and you center your reticle on a NPC, you have that little press X to do this, circle to do this, blah 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 to do that, all that stuff. You just press that, and the interaction is you still walk past them, but X to be angry, right? And you walk past them, and they go, "Hey, how's it going?" You're like, "Fuck you!" Like that's the interaction. You don't walk up to somebody and have a fucking Bioware conversation with them. But you can literally react with every NPC, and if you're hostile toward an NPC, it's very much a possibility that NPC AI could react hostile toward you as well. That's the interaction they're talking about. We're not talking like Bioware fucking interactions.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more of like GTA, where it's like you're walking by people and they're
No.
talking to you.
Yeah, no, like, and that's the whole thing. It's the same type of thing, but now you actually have the option to say, okay, I want to react this way as Arthur Morgan.
Okay.
Yep.
Lots of animals, though.
I mean, I do think that there's a little bit of flowery language and overhype that goes into both those statements. When, like, obviously, like, it's probably a little bit more advanced than maybe you've seen other games, but I think that buzzwords don't exactly communicate well the idea that you're trying to actually implement.
Mm-hmm.
But 200 animals, that's pretty cool.
I don't even know 200 animals.
I bet you do.
He probably doesn't. He thought Anaheim was in Canada.
I don't know, man. 200's a lot.
How many species of cat can you think of right now?
Tabby.
I actually don't know different breeds of cats. I know they exist, but that's just, I don't get it.
Domestic.
No, felines, fine.
Oh, like I know like lions and tigers.
Those are all cats.
Cougars.
Bears.
Well, I thought when you said cats, you meant house cats.
No. We're talking about animal species here.
House cats are an animal species.
Sure, but that's just a very like centralized version of a cat. There's cats, there's jaguars, there's cheetah, there's lions, there's panthers, there's fucking house cats, there's bobcats,
There's going to be lions
there's mountain
in
lions.
Red Dead?
That's not what you're saying.
That's already 8. That's already 7 just in the cat family, and I'm lynxes. There you go. There's 8.
Okay. Name 192 more.
But you didn't have to just be cats. Now think of birds and fish and horses. There's 19 horses, so that's 19 that we can already cross off.
We got to figure out, are those 19 included in the 200, or is it like...
And canines.
I think they are
And
included in the
canines.
200.
Think of all the different types of coyotes, wolves, regular dogs.
I think I
which
could
could
name
be
200 breeds of dogs.
right. You can name 200 different animal species.
I don't know.
200 different types of animals. Sorry, not
once you get
species.
past like dogs, cats, birds, and fish,
You realize, but like,
you
That
start
probably
running thin.
no, that probably takes up like just off the top of your head. I would say like 50 different animals.
That's still 150 more animals.
Sure, but then like okay, pig.
One.
No, there's the boar. There's freaking regular
warthog.
I don't even know what like a.
What was
what's
Pumbaa?
there's not domestic
Pumbaa
pigs.
was a warthog.
Yes.
It's not like a domestic pig. What is like pigs called? Just regular pigs? Is there a specific name for a regular pig that you just slaughter in a bacon?
Oh, there's the teacup pigs.
yeah, teacup pigs. Arthur Morgan's carrying around a tiny teacup pig. Teapup kig.
You guys are just proving my point.
No, we're not. We're
I
disproving.
guarantee
your point.
you, if we sat down at the end of the podcast and you gave each of us a sheet of paper, we could name 200 real animals in about 10, 15 minutes.
That would be in the Wild West.
Yes,
Yes.
because this game doesn't just take place in like South Texas. You're going into like mountain regions and shit like that too.
I don't know.
I think that you're just dumb.
I think you guys underestimate how much 200.
You're not
animals.
dumb. You just don't think logically.
I don't think you guys have enough imagination.
Oh, are we supposed to come up with imaginary things?
Yes.
Then that 19 breeds of horses, there's probably going to be a unicorn. I can almost guarantee you. It's a fucking Rockstar game.
I hope there's a Pegasus. Can you imagine flying around on the back of a Pegasus?
Oh,
Tell me that's not cool.
That would be badass.
doing Deadeye, just
Yeah,
Yeah,
from the air.
That'd be badass. Plus birds. Just think of birds. Vultures, buzzards, chickens,
Falcons.
Yeah.
Owls.
roosters, falcons, owls.
There's like 15 different species of owls that live in the Midwest.
I don't think you're going to see 15 species. Oh, but yeah, not in the game. But we can, that's the whole point. Whole argument is naming these different things.
Tawny owl, barnyard owl. Those are real. You fucking laugh.
I
The
know,
wise
but-
old owl
What?
from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Bear, black bears.
Brown bears.
Bears
Beats
Battlestar
Galactica.
All right, guys, that's our news for the week. PlayStation Plus has not been announced just yet, although someone
Man.
thinks it's leaked.
Yeah, but you've already got the short end of the stick. Good. Oh, yeah, you're a PlayStation guy now. So not really.
I have all the
What's,
sticks.
What's your main? Like, what's your main now? What's your main choice in gaming console now that you have both?
for upcoming releases?
What is your main?
PlayStation.
Okay, so he's a PlayStation guy now.
So like for like Red Dead coming out, like I would look to get that on PlayStation, etc.
Overwatch 2, where are you buying that at?
Probably PC, right?
Depends on where my friends buy it. My friends that play Overwatch.
Games with Gold this month. For Xbox One, you have Overcooked from the 1st to the 31st.
I already have that.
Wait, how do you already have it? Please tell me you got this for free already before. Please tell me you did not buy Overcooked.
Rooster Teeth bought it for me.
Oh, okay.
Why did they buy it for you?
It was for the show.
Tell a story real fast. Oh no, that's the right name. Never mind. I really thought that my my autocorrect fucked me over on the second game. You also have Victor Vran from 10:16 to 11:15.
What is that? What is it even?
Let me look it up. Vamp.
Oh, I was gonna look it up.
More
you have,
like
you have
Vic-
the list.
More like Victor Vamp. Just Dude, what the
Victor
fuck?
Vamp. I've literally never heard of this game before. Oh, that's weird. Victor Vran is an action role-playing video game developed by Bulgarian independent development studio Hayamount Games. Victor Vran is published on... Nope, that does not help me. It looks kind of like... the cover art looks like Van Helsing.
Looking at a gameplay picture,
it's like top down.
The player
Diablo.
assumes the role of
Yeah, I was
Victor
gonna
say
Vran, a
Diablo,
demon hunter who arrives in fantasy city of Zagorvia
Hey,
to help his
demon
inhabitants
hunter.
fight off a demon infestation.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It seems like something
Unknown
you would do.
origin.
I did not play Demon Hunter in Diablo. I played a Necro.
I played Demon Hunter.
Equally edgy.
Sure. Had like bat wings and shit.
I just thought the Demon Hunter had the coolest character model.
I like
And,
the
and then you start
witch
the game,
doctors.
and then you start the game, and you don't have cool armor whatsoever.
Yeah, witch doctor is always pretty cool. Throw some like what do you throw? Frogs?
Sure.
I don't know. I never
I
played it.
did.
I literally only played the Demon Hunter because I thought he looked the coolest.
Oh.
On Xbox 360, you get Stuntman Ignition. These are all backwards compatible too. From the 1st to the 15th. And Hitman Blood Money, which apparently is the best Hitman, from the 16th to the 31st.
Yeah, but man, whoever's the negotiator for Microsoft and getting these games for Xbox with games with gold, he needs to like rethink his life hard. Because this is what he gets.
I want to see those conversations. Where it's like,
Gosh.
we'll give you Skyrim. No, Victor Brain. Deal.
I
Wait,
wonder if it's
what?
I wonder if it's a problem that a lot of these people have already made a deal with Sony.
Maybe.
And they like Xbox.
That's the thing
coming
is
to
like
them
why
afterwards.
I mean I understand that Destiny has like a partnership with Sony, but why can't Xbox have Destiny for free too? You know what I mean?
Like you guys got For Honor like 6 months after we did.
Yeah.
Has Xbox ever gotten Rocket League for free?
I don't think so.
It's crazy to me. I don't understand. For a company like PlayStation who just doesn't want what gamers want, we always get the best things possible. You know what I mean?
You're just like that. You're the rich entitled kid.
Yeah,
it's like,
sure,
I don't
like-
even want these things.
Yeah,
that's the
sure.
problem
Like,
with
here you go.
that's the problem with the 360 options now, though, is that unless they go back and start double dipping, like they're running out of cool games on 360 to like release for backwards
It's
compatibility.
true. And you can't really do the whole, like, you can't go back and, like, well, let's try to get some of these old Square Enix games. They're just being released on PlayStation Remastered
Yeah.
for $20.
I mean,
like,
I guess it somewhat balances out though with Games Pass because it's like,
but it doesn't.
doesn't it though? Because it's not that expensive, and you
Yeah,
get
but you're
access.
also-
But it's still money investment. So
You're
it
also
doesn't.
spending
It
30
is.
more. You're spending how much more money a year to get Games Pass?
$120.
120 plus $60. So you're paying 180 to get Games
Why
Pass.
plus 60?
What?
Why plus? Oh,
Six-
for
for
Game
the-
Gold.
for
Got it.
Game
Got
Gold.
it. Got it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Xbox Live.
$180.
So you're paying 180 bucks to get all that stuff, whereas like PlayStation gets they have bad months. Let's not
Sure.
pretend. But generally, you get at least one good game every month. And if the rumors about next month for PlayStation are to be believed, like it's a good fucking month.
What is it?
Let me look it up so I know for sure. But I know Neo is one of the games.
Really?
Yeah, and
But
that's
it-
only
wow.
$60.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're paying the $180 for Games Pass and Xbox Live, I mean, you're getting more games than.
Sure, but
Sure,
you're
but
also
you're also
paying,
paying for
120
it.
more.
But you're paying for it. That's the whole point. Like, I understand what you're saying, but you're wrong. You're still paying
That's like
more
s-
money than we pay, and
that-
we're still getting better games.
That would be like if I made the argument that I have a better game selection because I pay for PlayStation Now every year. Yes, that's technically true. That doesn't change the fact that it's a shit service, and I'm paying more to get those games.
That's true.
Yeah, you're still paying for the games. Don't get me wrong, Games Pass has awesome games on it, but you're still paying for Games Pass.
Right.
Now, if you were getting State of Decay 2 free, then that's different, but you're not. You're paying for it.
Here,
Neo.
hurry up and load. My goodness.
Which one?
So the rumor is
It's kind of like a Dark Souls slash Dynasty Warriors type
the,
clone.
The rumor is that we're getting Neo and Diablo 3 Eternal Collection.
Fuck, I just bought Diablo 3 like 2 months ago. The Eternal Collection.
Did you buy the Eternal?
Yeah, the one with everything, right?
It comes with the new like $15 character too.
Yeah, I got
Oh,
every.
wow.
I mean, I only paid like $15, but
Have you played it yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I was
Wait,
gonna say
this
you
all
could return
started.
it.
This all started because a Reddit user showed a glitch that happened in the PlayStation Store.
Sure they did.
I mean, it's that.
Oh.
So
Yeah, but that could
Oh.
that
It could be fake.
That could be easily
It could be
photoshopped.
faked,
I could
but-
Photoshop that. You could Photoshop that from your phone.
I could.
I feel like if you're gonna like make up rumors though, like PlayStation Plus is like the lamest one to do that on.
Is it Destiny 2 had rumors coming from PlayStation Plus before it came out?
Sure, but
before
like,
it come out.
but like most like it's getting to the point where all the good AAA games that they announce are shit that I've already bought. So for me, it's like, and I'm not gonna play Neo. Like for people who want to play Neo, that's cool. And I own everything in Diablo 3 except for the new dude. So
Necro,
yeah, so I guess that's nice. Like I can play the Necromancer.
Necromancer,
Yeah.
Your
All right.
cruh sounded like a gruh. Like a-
Negro.
Topic of the week. We've been waiting to do this for 2 weeks now, so now we can finally knock it out of the park. Spider-Man.
That's not gonna
out of the
happen.
Parker.
Spider-Man came out on PlayStation 4.
Old news.
Yeah, old news. Justin and I are going to talk about it and tell you kind of what we think, but also we kind of want to talk about how it compares and stacks up to other superhero games, where it fits in the legacy, and I guess maybe where Marvel games are going in the future.
Yeah.
Just superhero games in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. In general, yeah.
So, what did you think of Spider-Man?
Have
you beat it?
No. So I was gonna lead into that. I have not beaten it yet. I think I'm fairly close. The
you
game.
Also,
well, that's what I was gonna say. The game is fairly new. I don't know how much
I'm
spoiler
not-
we want to get
Has,
into.
I'm
Peter,
not
has
going
Peter
to-
died yet?
I'm not going to spoil things for you, but if you're listening to this conversation, are you guys okay with us talking about spoilers potentially? Yeah, I'm okay about this game. Okay, cool. I know Chris.
I'm not in the end game yet. So
I'm not.
if
Gonna
you're
spoil,
listening,
I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But like,
Sorry. Did you just refer
We
to
can
a
talk
single
about
player
spoilers.
experience having an end game?
So I haven't finished the game. So if you're listening, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna spoil like the last thing.
Right,
but-
Peter dies.
yeah. So just be aware that we're going to talk about spoilers. Just maybe not the end of the game. So where are you at?
Let's see. I haven't been introduced to the like the Sinister Six yet.
Oh, you still have so much game left.
Do I?
Yeah.
I feel like I've done so much.
So it's split into 3 acts. The first act is kind of just like the introduction, the Kingpin stuff. Second act is the Demon Gang stuff. And then the third act is the Sinister Six. And I would say the third act is the longest portion of the game.
Well, Doc Ock, like he's kind of started perfecting his thing. Like he's done the whole like implanting it into his cerebral cortex or whatever, and it's all
but there's still you still have 6 villains that you're gonna have to fight, before the end of the game. And
When was the last time you played a video game?
I mean, a single player game. It's been a long time.
Just a video game.
See, I mean, weekly. I don't know.
Well, how come you don't see this coming?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've done a lot.
That's like,
and it seems like people got done with it really quickly.
That's like
you're
reading That's like you're reading it. Well, dude, there's somebody at 600 power in Destiny already.
Yeah, I mean,
you kidding me?
True. I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I would say
it's for comparison. You're reading a Spider-Man graphic novel and you got 15 pages in, and you're like, man, I've got to be getting close to the end, even though you can literally see thick ass pages coming.
If you jump into the story and you just focus on the story and don't focus on collectibles or side missions, you could probably get it done in just under 20 hours. Like I would say between 17 and 20 would be where you're at.
Okay, yeah, because that kind of explains why. Because I've done a lot of that. Like I think I got all the landmarks. I know I got all the checkpoints. I got all the backpacks. Like I've done a lot of the collectibles too. Black Cat stuff. Did all that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get a lot of those costumes early on in the game so I could enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's how I usually do this too. I try to get costumes as quick as possible, especially ones that I want.
But there's a lot of costumes too that you unlock per level.
Yeah.
Level what? I mean, what's the level cap?
I don't even know.
Like I'm already at like 35.
The level cap is
something.
basically when you have all the skills, because you get just enough levels to fill out your skill trees.
Huh. Well, that's exciting. I mean, I'm glad to know that there's more game. Because that's what I kept thinking about too. I was like, like I said, I felt like I had done so much, and probably because I was getting distracted by all the collectibles.
I mean, we talked about it. Like we were talking about this at work the other day. That you can play the game however you want, and I'm not judging anyone, but I think that the story is good enough to the point where there are certain things that you should prioritize when you jump in, and then just realize that nothing at the end of the game you can go collect everything else. Yeah. Because my problem is I spent so much time working on collectibles and taking pictures of things that by the time that I was getting to the story, I was like, why wasn't I focusing on this to begin with? Because I think that after Act 2, it gets that's where the story really just gets crazy and good, and it makes it one of my favorite Spider-Man stories. Okay. So what do you think where you're at in the game though?
I mean, we talked about it before. I'm really, really enjoying it. I know that's pretty much everything that everyone's just talking about how much they really like it. But this being the first game that I'm playing on my PlayStation, it definitely already feels like it was worth it. Like it was. This game makes me feel like it was worth getting a PlayStation alone. It looks really, really good. I was telling him before, the guy, the voice actor who does Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Don't know his name, but he's the guy who did
something. He's the guy from
Sunset Overdrive. He does a great job at just the kind of the quippy, snappy Spider-Man. There's a lot of cool running jokes just in the dialogue that's really fun and enjoyable. Yeah. The combat, I know a lot of people relate it to kind of like an Arkham style combo. Basically you're building combos. But with this, it feels better because Spider-Man's so light and zippy. It makes more sense to have him jumping from one enemy to the other and kind of using his webs to swing everywhere. Yeah. Whereas I don't know, with me, whenever I would play the Arkham games, Batman is so freaking bulky and huge, and yet here he is sliding across the battlefield, just punching everybody.
A lot of people compare the gameplay to Batman, and a lot of people were comparing it on early on. I think I was one of those people that's it looks just like Arkham. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't know that I would be able to convince anyone who hasn't played the game, but to me it's very different than Arkham. Because with Arkham, I felt, aside from enemies where I had to do certain things in order to defeat them, I was mostly resorting to the same things all the time. Even with the gadgets being a little bit easier to select, I wasn't really using them all that much. But with Spider-Man, it's I'm using everything in the book to do it. I'm in the air a lot. I'm zipping around. I'm hardly ever fighting the same guy for more than 1 or 2 hits. It feels like just so much lighter. And there's also more of a threat too. Because in Arkham you get punched and it's like, oh man, Batman got punched. But with Spider-Man, it's like, oh, I get punched and there goes a third of my health, even at the end game.
If you get hit like once or twice, like it does some damage.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It feels good.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's more true, I guess, to like how Spider-Man would be. I don't know.
That's not true.
Well, it's not true.
Spider-Man, he has super strength.
Yeah, but he doesn't have super.
Yeah, he does. I've seen him get thrown through brick walls and have buildings collapse in on him, and he's fine.
That is true, though.
I wouldn't say he's fine.
Yes, he is.
Now
I
that
feel,
you have-
when was the last time you read a Spider-Man comic? I've seen that dude get beat to absolute shit, and he still gets up and fights.
Because he's a badass.
No, it's because he has super strength.
I feel like there's a difference between super strength and super healing, though. Like
he
he doesn't like heal instantly. I don't know.
Sure, but he still has super strength, which is why he can.
He can push through being fucked up.
Right,
Doesn't mean he doesn't get fucked up.
right. But the whole health drop thing, 2 punches to the face from a guy is not going to knock out Spider-Man.
No, but a couple bullets would.
Well, yeah, a bullet's going to, sure, but
Yeah.
you just said punch. You didn't say get shot.
Oh, sure, shot.
No, but I mean, even when you get punched, regardless of how it matches up, I do think that I don't know. I felt like.
Is it like they improved on a 3-year-old engine or a 3-year-old fighting engine?
That's the weird thing about this game. Like, I don't know that I'm going to answer your question, but now that you bring that up, like, a lot of things about the Spider-Man game make it feel like it's a sequel and not the first game. Like,
Sure.
there's just certain things they took into account, and there's a certain amount
Sure.
of like snappiness and responsiveness, and just it feels good in
Sure.
a way that like
I think we can all agree that Batman, I would say Arkham Knight, the last one, was probably the greatest
It felt the best,
superhero
yeah.
game ever made. Especially from a gameplay standpoint.
I think at the time I do think that
Right,
like,
at the time, of course.
I think
but now you
Spider-Man
have
I
a
like more.
you have 3 more years and somewhat of a better understanding of the hardware that you're building it on. That if this came out and felt like Batman, then they did it wrong. And even though from an outside perspective, if I'm just watching one of you play Spider-Man, oh, it's just Batman. You're literally playing Batman. You're doing the exact same thing you do in Batman, and I'm not like discrediting it. I'm sure it feels better and more zippy, whatever it is. But they had 3 years to improve something that was already probably one of the best fighting systems out there from a single player RPG standpoint.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it feels better. I think that there are going to be people that prefer Arkham Knight to Spider-Man. I think it just feels different enough to where after playing the game, like, it's hard for me to explain, but I just don't think that it's exactly like Arkham in the way that I thought it would.
Sure.
It feels different enough that it almost feels unique when,
Which it should.
Even Arkham isn't unique. Like,
Sure.
God of War and Dante's Inferno were doing the same things that game
Sure,
was doing.
sure. Not to the extent of like the counters and stuff like that, and changing tactics from enemy to enemy. God of War, you just slammed X as much as you possibly could. Batman. I'm assuming Spider-Man as well has a timing-based system. You don't want to just smack X over and over and over.
Yeah,
again.
you have your Spidey reflexes where you kind of dodge. And,
Sure, yeah.
You
but
can,
you don't
you can
can't-
counter off those dodges.
Sure, but you can't just like sit there and smash X over and over and over again and expect to
necessarily,
succeed. I don't think, at least. I don't know.
In theory, you could with a lot of enemies.
But that number wouldn't go up, right? Which means your modifier wouldn't.
Well, that's another cool thing about it. With Batman, it's like if you stay still for like even a second,
Your modifier's gone.
you're gone. With Spider-Man, it's like unless you take a really long time or unless you get hit, your counter's there. And if you were
that's
just
good.
sitting there punching things, like your counter would go away because you'd be getting hit.
Sure.
But I think that Spider-Man's cool because you have those enemies that you can just try to punch, and
Sure.
if you move fast enough, you can be successful. But I think that it's cool because it gives you different options to deal with that, but doesn't force you to do it like
Are
Batman
you
does.
also fighting 25 enemies at the same time at any given time?
I would
'Cause
say like
in
15.
Okay, because in Arkham Knight there was points where you were fighting like 30 dudes at the same time.
There are those points in this
Okay,
game too.
yeah.
Those moments feel a little bit scarier than they did in Arkham,
Sure.
just because of how squishy Spider-Man
Sure,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some battles that even like how far I am in the story, like there's some that have been kind of tough. A few of them, like I don't know if it's the only encounter I've had with Mr. Negative in the subway train.
Yeah.
Where it's basically just like if he throws his arm like if he charges like straight up the middle, just go to the side versus like if he charges out, just go to the ceiling. Kind of basically just like easy mechanics to figure out.
You know who's
That's
part
only-
of you know who's part of the Sinister Six, right?
Yeah, anyone who watched E3.
I know, but
does.
you know he's part of the Sinister Six, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you fight him again.
Yeah.
That fight is such crap compared to the final fight with him.
Okay.
Like I don't like that fight at all. I
Yeah.
think that like the way that it signposts, it's not obvious. So like dodging like that is not great. But the final fight with Mr. Negative is really, really cool because
Okay.
I don't know. I thought the Shocker fight was really good. And the Fisk fight was also really good too because they basically give you an arena and you can move around.
Fisk
Yes.
isn't part of the 6, is he?
No, he's not.
Okay, so I got the 6. That's disappointing.
I mean, that's real fast. I think, like taking a
We talked
sidebar,
about this. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite superhero games, if not my favorite. And it's one of my favorite Spider-Man stories. I think that it's weird because this game.
Which doesn't say much. Let's be 100% honest.
Oh, I think
Because there's not a ton of good Spider-Man stories.
I think there's a lot that I like. I can understand other people not thinking that they're that great, but
anything Dan Slott did was great.
yeah.
Anything Dan Slott.
But it's weird for me because I feel at the same time that Insomniac doesn't take any risks, but it also feels like they're taking risks on really simple things that are obvious in the signpost. It's like, oh man, seems crazy that you're doing this. Well, while at the same time, if I were to break down the things where I think they took risks, it's like, well, that happens in the comics. It's been that way in multiple different forms of media, so it doesn't matter. But they like kind of take the universe and make it their own. One of the things that infuriates me about the marketing for this game is the amount of things that they spoiled in their E3 press conferences. The fact that they tell you about the Sinister Six, that moment could have been so cool if you didn't know it was coming. And even if you don't know it's coming, there's like a little card in the corner of the screen that pops up randomly. I don't know what the purpose of this card is, but it literally has like it has 6 Sinister Six members on it, and one of them is not actually on the team. It shows Wilson Fisk, and then it shows the other 5 people. You don't even interact with them up until the point at the beginning of Act 3.
5.
I
I thought I got all 6.
It shows 5 people and then Fisk.
William Fisk.
So,
There's like a reveal of one.
Of who the 6th member is.
which is...
He hasn't gotten to it yet, so you
Oh,
probably
but you,
know, but I
you
wouldn't
just
spoil
said it was negative.
it.
He was
Negative is one of the 5.
So in the E3 trailer, it was Vulture, Scorpion, Shocker, Rhino, and Doc Ock.
I don't think it was. No, it was Mr. Negative.
Not in the E3 trailer. In that fight where where it's nighttime and he's like getting beat to shit. Scorpion, Doc Ock, because this is just me going off memory of that E3 trailer.
I don't think Scorpion was
Scorpion,
Scorpion was
Doc Ock, Shocker, Rhino, Vulture. Those were 5 that showed up.
I rewatched it the other day, and the only one that was different than the one that you mentioned was Mr. Negative was there and Shocker wasn't. But all the other 4 were there.
Okay.
And the last member, before they reveal who that member is, in the trailer it cuts it off.
Got it.
But they were initially
So
going to reveal
I'm assuming I can guess exactly
Everyone can
who
guess
that
who it
is.
is.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where it's like, is that going to happen or is it not? It's weird.
It would be dumb if it didn't.
But so not only did they spoil that moment, which could have been so fucking cool,
Yep.
but they also like signposted the entire game.
But that's video game marketing, right?
But it signposted in the game, so like if
Okay,
you had
sure.
gone in
That's
blind,
really shitty too. Yeah.
you would be aware. And then the like revealing the stuff about MJ, I think the segments of the game with her are cool. Revealing Miles at all, I think was lame. I feel like Insomniac felt like they had to prove something when if they just waited and just show just let the game come out and marketed it still, but like avoid these big things because they do avoid one big thing, but it's obvious.
Sure.
It's obvious from
It's
the
the
moment
most
you turn the game on.
obvious. Sure, exactly. It's the most obvious thing in the world.
And when it happens,
It's like,
you're
now
like,
I'm curious if I'm oblivious to this or not. I don't know.
There's no way
you're oblivious.
There's literally no way you can be oblivious to this thing in a Spider-Man game.
Have I already brought it up?
I mean, yes, we've talked about it. It's come up
It's
in
a
conversation.
Spider-Man game.
I know, but I don't want to know.
The only thing that would catch me by surprise is if you kick Doc Ock's ass in Act 1 and he shows up as Superior Spider-Man and the clones are introduced. That's the only way I would be like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming.
This took a left turn.
Yeah.
Well, but
and then Kane shows up at the end for some weird ass reason. And then Ben Riley's in the background swinging. It's like, holy shit.
But
that'd be badass.
That's the weird thing about this game, though, is that they do like those really obvious things. And it almost feels like, I think it's because we've had 3 Spider-Man movie reboots, and they always like kind of tiptoe around doing the serious things in Spider-Man, so we don't really get to see them.
Well, in the new one's case, I understand. And
Yeah.
that one, you kind of have to follow this dumb cinematic universe that they've
But
set.
like Amazing,
the
was
other
bad
ones,
about that,
I know,
where they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're hinting at this one guy.
Yep.
I really think that, like, you know, aside from the fact that they botched the Venom thing in the original trilogy, like they kind of dance around Venom in the first 2 movies, the risks quote. The risks that they take are things that you would expect to happen, but
Sure.
they feel like risks because we just don't see it happen in like serious Spider-Man media anymore.
Sure.
But they also spoil a lot of it, and it's like, dude, like, just
Well,
let
I
people
mean,
play the game.
You two would have bought this game no matter what.
Oh yeah.
I think the reveal of Miles and talking that Jane is a photographer. She's actually the Peter Parker in this universe. The fact that the Sinister Six are in it. I think that I understand that marketing is like, well, now we're definitely going to get even like the most casual Spider-Man fan buying this game.
Well,
Do you think that?
Yeah,
You
because
think that appeals to the casual?
yes,
player?
because because the casual player, the casual Spider-Man fan knows nothing about any of those people. You know what they do know about is Spider-Man and his arch nemesis.
Well, and
Those are the 2 things that they know about Spider-Man. And, again, I don't know. I've never played this game, so the statement that I'm about to make could be completely false. Spider-Man and his arch nemesis showing up, that's a reveal that a casual would love. Us, no, because of course it's gonna happen.
Well,
Fucking of course.
but it's funny though, like when the person that's pulling the strings does get revealed, and as that relationship kind of develops on in the game, like I don't know how to describe it because the fact that they made this work with this character, and you know who I'm talking
That
about.
sounds weird.
But like it is so good. And
Really?
it's really special.
That sounds super weird that this character is behind the scenes puppeteering everything. That is not this character's MO.
and
That's really
and
fucking cool.
But it just creates a lot of problems because it's like, how long has this been going on?
Sure. That's weird.
There's just and I wish you had finished the game so we could talk about this moment. But there's a moment at the end of the game that is so fucking special, and it's so good.
Does Gwen Stacy show up in Spider-Gwen costume?
No, but like if I tell
Lame.
you, if I tell you, it's gonna sound lame. But the thing is that like this whole game and just Spider-Man in general, and what makes him a lame superhero, and the reason why he's not as cool as the rest of his characters, is he takes so much fucking guilt and personal responsibility for literally things that he has no control over, and it like drags him down and makes him seem like a whiny baby.
And you know what he does? He covers it up with jokes.
And
it's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Peter Parker is literally one of the worst superheroes ever created.
I relate to Peter Parker.
I think that's why everyone loves him, because he is relatable.
Right.
But the amount of guilt that he holds on to, it just gets, after reading his comics, I've been reading his comics for 10 fucking years. After reading his comics for 10 years, it gets old. And so that's why Ben Riley and
God, it
Kane
gets so
and
old.
Miles and Spider-Gwen, and Superior Spider-Man, that's why all those characters to me have become more interesting, because after 10 years, get the fuck over it.
Yep.
And that
Yeah.
thing exists.
You know what's really stupid is deep dive into Spider-Man comic real quick. Dan Slott did the Superior Spider-Man arc. Peter Parker still blamed himself for everything Doc Ock did in Peter's body. How the fuck do you even blame yourself for that, dude? You weren't even
for all intents and purposes, you were dead.
You were dead.
I mean,
He's such a fucking tool, man.
how is that a tool? That's a
but
good
there's-
guy.
No, he's not a good guy. He's a little fucking whiny baby of a tool.
But there's that
He's a
same
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
there's that same thing that happens in this game where Act 3 is very much about Peter's guilt, and there's a moment where like he
I don't know
gets
if I want
free
to play
from it.
that. Oh, okay.
He gets like at the end. There's a moment where he gets free from it, and he like kind of like regular Peter Parker would still blame himself. but
Sure.
this guy's like, oh fuck, like I'm actually not the bad guy here. Everything that's happened is not my fault. It's your fault, and I felt this way.
So he turns into Bruce Wayne.
No, not
Not that
necessarily.
hard.
But that's kind of good though, because I mean, this Peter Parker is 26, 24,
Oh, he's older.
25.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he's
probably,
been Spider-Man for a while.
He's
So
probably
he-
around my age.
So
'cause he
Parker
became-
Industries should be a thing. Is Parker Industries a thing?
No, but Octavius Industries is a thing.
Ooh.
But yeah, he's been Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Man since high school, so he's probably around our age.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
That's kind of neat.
but yeah, I
Older
mean,
Spider-Man's a little bit better than young Spider-Man. But
I
we don't
like
get,
older Spider-Man.
We don't get older Spider-Man very often in any media.
Or Spider Cop.
Spider Cop's great.
Spider Cop is best cop.
Yeah, I mean, this game is really. I think this game is really special. I think it does a lot of things right, and I kind of hope that there is there's 2 really cool after credit scenes, and the last one is very obviously hinting towards something. And I kind of hope that even though we think this is going to be the game, I hope that they calm down and maybe mislead us a little bit and take like this. They obviously have a really good ability to kind of fit the rest of Spider-Man's lore into their own universe. And I wish they would feel confident that they didn't have to prove to the fan base that they were making the right
Because
decisions.
there's no Earth 2 in this at all, is there?
It is.
From what you can tell, is this one, everything Spider-Man lore-wise is in this universe.
This is an official. It's a numbered planet in the Marvel universe. So 616 Spider-Man could jump to that planet.
Got it, okay.
Oh.
So it exists alongside everything. In fact,
Got it.
in one of like the Spider-Man universe crossovers that's happening, like this Spider-Man is in that game.
Got it.
Or in that comic.
With the costume and everything, because his costume's badass.
But they do, yeah. His that costume,
The normal one you see in all the trailers and shit.
that's my favorite.
Such a
Spider-Man
good,
costume.
such a good Spider-Man costume.
I actually I wore that through most of the game, and then when I was doing like side missions and not main story stuff, I was Scarlet Spider.
Of course you were.
Yeah.
Fucking dumb
Really?
blue jean
Oh, yeah.
jacket hoodie thing. God,
Scarlet
that's such a
Spider
shitty
is-
fucking.
I
He loves
love
that.
Scarlet
He
Spider.
loves that design. I
all-
think it's the dumbest.
I
Well,
I just-
I love
Spider-Man
I love the Black Cat costume. Like that one's
It's,
so cool.
it's cool, but it's like it's just
Black
kind of fucking
Cat.
edgelord.
Black cat
It's
costume.
black. It's completely black, and there's a red spider on
Is
it.
there like cleavage showing too?
No.
Black cat.
It was made by Black Cat. She made it for
I kind
him.
of want to see it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
if
cool.
you look at his
I
hands,
think it's called just look for stealth
Black
suit.
cat. Oh, it's a stealth suit.
Yeah.
and his hands, like his
Spider-Man.
fingers have like claws.
That's the
on them.
thing I hate about it though, because it looks like he has fingernails.
Yeah, they're claws.
Superior had that. Superior kind of had little.
Yeah, but his he could extend his.
Oh, I understand.
It like looks like Spider-Man is like a salon girl. You know, like if he had to type on a keyboard, he would have to like lift his finger up in a weird way so his nail wouldn't get in the way.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like, my favorite thing about I mean, we can move on, but my favorite thing about superhero video games like this, Batman especially, was like the alternate costumes you could unlock. I'm really disappointed in these costumes. I've seen
In these costumes?
I've
Spider-Man?
seen most of them.
Oh man, I love
I'm
all of them.
super disappointed in some of these, just because number one, Superior is not part of it.
Which you'll probably
but
get added through DLC.
Sure,
I feel like these costumes are a lot different than what I've seen. Like alternate costumes in other superhero games.
yeah, but I'm looking at the ones that I've seen. Like half of them, I don't even know what comic they come from. Like I have no idea where half of them
lot of
come
Some of
from.
them, some of them are original.
A lot of this, there's only 3 original suits in there.
Well, that's why I said
The
some.
advanced suit, yeah, but like you're selling it up a little high. The advanced suit, the stealth suit, and then a suit that you haven't seen yet, that gets unlocked in the story. I don't know. A lot of those suits though are from Dan Slott's run. I would,
they?
yeah, I would say more than half of them are from Dan Slott's run.
Yeah, I just some of them are less iconic. Like I don't even know if the black suit is in this game or
It's not.
So that's
It's very intentionally not in this game though.
fair enough. But like the black suit or
There's some weird ones. There's some very like
or-
cybery, spacey kind of.
yeah, like I've seen one that's like kind of armored. Like Spider-Man's done armored stuff before, but like the black
There's a
suit
couple
or,
armored ones.
Or the animated one's pretty neat. Not
Though-
just to be
that
honest,
one's
one's
cool.
really cool.
I really liked the Velocity suit too.
And I guess I get it because I mean, if you were to talk to a casual Spider-Man fan and you'd be like, so did you like Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man run? They'd be like, I don't know what the fuck that is. You know what I mean? So I get,
but I
I
kinda
get
see-
it. Go ahead, sorry.
I kind of see where you're coming from, though. Like, I know a lot of those Dan Slott suits. I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah.
but I know because I've read every
Sure,
issue
yeah.
of his run. So I could see like someone being disappointed, but I think that they all look really good, and I also think that they do a
Yes.
good job of like creating a story reason about why you would be
Sure.
wearing different costumes.
And I get that, like, because each costume has a different power to it, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, Batman was all aesthetic. there was no reason to wear the Batman Beyond suit to just look badass.
I do like that you can mix and match like once you unlock the suit, you have access to that
Oh,
power.
that's cool.
And you can put it on any costume.
That's cool.
Yeah, so then it's
So
like
you can
you
look
can
the way
look
you
however
want
you
to
want.
look. Yeah, that's always nice.
So you get to have the spider legs from the Iron Spider suit on any of them.
That's actually really cool. That's the thing is like, I mean, here, I'm going to show you a picture of Superior Spider-Man. You tell me this isn't the greatest fucking Spider-Man costume ever created.
Superior is
know
my
which one you're
second
talking about.
favorite. I still think the Spider-Man PS4 is the best costume that Spider-Man's ever had.
I think
With just like the big white like
Yeah,
spider.
well,
White
just
spider, like the tennis shoe kind of look.
yeah, but also like that white flows throughout the entire suit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, his
that's it's just
lines are-
really
yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Superior is good because it matches Superior as a character. It just fits him really well, and that's why I like that suit. But if you're talking about Peter Parker Spider-Man, like, I don't know how you beat the advanced suit. While you guys are looking at Twitter and he's looking up the picture to show you, I mean, what are some of the, when you talk about superhero video games, like what are
You
you
can't
guys,
tell me that's not the coolest Spider-Man suit you've ever seen.
It was pretty cool.
He even has like the tennis shoe boots type things going on. I just fucking
Yep.
God, I love that fucking suit.
So
Especially
when-
the arms.
When we talk about superhero games, like aside from the Arkham games, like what are the things that kind of stand out to you? And I mean, I guess with us, we can talk about how we think this stacks up to those. Because really, outside of the Batman games, the only other games that I can think of are the Ultimate Alliance games that are like just great superhero games.
Sure.
I mean, going back to like PS2 era, I mean, like those Spider-Man games were. I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, but go back and play them now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they don't hold up nearly as well. But
Yeah.
for the time, it was like
Well, for the time, Knights of the Old Republic was a phenomenal game, and guess what? In 2018, Knights of the Old Republic is still a fucking phenomenal game.
fair.
That's the thing is like, yeah, the Spider-Man 2 game on PlayStation 2 was really fucking cool, until you realize like I can be above the buildings and still shoot webs, and there's nothing there. So how the fuck am I swinging
just
above
like
these
attaching
buildings?
to the
Yeah,
sky.
it's like what? That doesn't make any sense. They're just not good. Like if you go back and play them now, sure as a kid they're great, but they're just not good. I think the bigger question though is like with Batman in Arkham Knight was 2015, 2014, somewhere there.
It
2015
was after we started Twin Stick. I think it was 2016.
maybe. So 2015, 2016, and then I think there was a drought in superhero games from Batman Arkham Knight to Spider-Man, because I don't count Guardians of the Galaxy or any of those kind of
But
whatever.
the only one that I
The
can
Lego
really think
ones?
of is
no, absolutely.
Marvel Heroes that like really.
Sure, but even then, that was around before Batman, technically, before Arkham Knight.
Really?
Yeah, Marvel
didn't know
Heroes was
that.
around since 2013, 2014, I would say. Anyway, so really, in my personal opinion, we've had two good superhero games, are the Batman games and Spider-Man. I'd very much like to see this trend continue, because in the past, all superhero games and movies have been bad.
Yeah.
But somehow we grew up, right? We as in us, me and Trey, all of our age, growing up reading comics, and now we're the creators, right? So not the Duffer Brothers, that's Stranger Things. Who's the Avengers guys? The Roscoe Brothers?
Russo.
The Russo brothers. You know what? I guarantee you, if you look back when they're 5 years old, they're fucking sitting in their room freaking reading comic books, right? And now that they're grown up, they're translating that into a screen, where back when we were kids, we had fucking Christopher Reeve Superman. Yeah, it was fine, but it's not, Henry Cavill Superman, which again, people have their problems with Man of Steel all they want, but I think that's a phenomenal fucking movie. I really, really do. And we're getting that in games now, right? Developers are taking the time and people are giving them the money to make these amazing superhero games. I'd very much like to see that trend continue, and maybe see like, it's hard to market that, right? Because I would love to see a Magneto game, but that's never going to happen. But maybe another X-Men game that doesn't suck. You know what I mean?
I do want to say one, like, kind of on, like, to take a little bit of a tangent. I agree with all you said, but I want to talk about this as in terms of the other Sony games.
Oh, sure.
So in my opinion, I think that there's kind of been like this tonal conformity that a lot of the Sony games have had to follow since Last of Us. They all kind of have that like Last of Us dark, melancholy aesthetic.
Sure.
They all kind of have that same like close third-person camera angle. One of the things that I appreciate about Spider-Man, and I hope it shows Sony, is that it is very different than the last like group of Sony games.
Sure.
Not only in terms of color and lighting and just kind of tone in general, it is mostly a positive game. It does get into some dark stuff, but it's mostly positive. I think that it's so unique in that sense, which is weird to say.
Sure, but that's staying true to the franchise, right?
That's staying true to the franchise.
I think it is. You wouldn't see Batman and you wouldn't play a
You wouldn't
Batman
see it
game.
in that game.
Yeah, you wouldn't play a Batman game at sunset, right?
But I do think that Sony is running the risk of. I talk about this a lot with indie movies, but there's a tendency of people being up their own ass a little bit. They just kind of get obsessed with like, oh, we're going for that indie movie vibe.
Sure.
And Sony's been doing that a little bit. Like God of War is kind of that game.
Sure.
And it's great. It's a really good game. But sometimes it's like, come on, guys, lighten up just a little bit. Like,
Sure.
let's have some fun.
Sure. Don't go all fucking Cade 6 on us.
Exactly.
But lighten up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, lighten up just a little bit. And I hope Sony kind of takes that into account because it's weird that Spider-Man feels unique in a franchise that has literally existed in public consciousness for the last 30 years.
Sure.
right?
Yeah, they would just have to find the balance though, because I mean that's kind of a problem that Marvel, like the cinematic universe, started having too. Is like some of their earlier movies, like Iron Man and stuff, like they kind of deal with a little bit more darker material, and then now we get into like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or something, or Thor Ragnarok, for example. Like they figured out that people really enjoy the lightheartedness, and now it's like every character is a comedic character.
Yeah.
So it's like Sony would just kind of have to find the balance between that too.
I think Sony just has to. I don't know if it's the creators feeling like they need to conform to Sony, or if Sony is kind of asking for this. But I think that you just got to let your creators kind of make the world that they want. If Horizon Dawn wants to be a world about hope, which to a certain degree it is, you got to let the creators kind of take that and run with it. Like you can trust your creators to do good things and to kind of break the conformity. But I don't want to be in a future where the Sony games stop being special because they're all just like Last of Us, you know?
Sure.
Right now they're in a good place. I think all the games they've released in this generation have been awesome. I think this is one of the best generations just for Sony in general. But like take your head out of your ass a little bit and realize that there are other kind of aesthetics that you can go for in your games.
Sure. I think they, to an extent, I totally agree with you. But you've got games like, I just lost my entire train of thought. Oh, Infamous Second Son. That was one of the first. That was a launch, was it? Or was it like 2 weeks after?
Second Son?
Yeah, was it a launch?
The Second Son was late.
Was
the
it?
first Infamous was about
No,
2 or
I'm
3
talking
years
about
in.
Second Son. On PS4.
Oh, Second Son. Oh my God, I was thinking Infamous 2.
No,
Second Son was
Second
like
Son-
launch year.
It was a launch
within the first
year,
6
yeah.
months of launch.
That one, I feel like when I look at Spider-Man, it reminds me of Infamous Second Son.
Yeah, that kind of had that positive
Yeah,
vibe too.
and I think Sony's been fairly good at having a plethora of things, but I do agree with you. I think they've definitely leaned toward that. They leaned kind of hard into that real like
Yeah.
Walking Dead vibe, right? With Last of Us, especially with the one that I really want to play with Sam Witwer. Days Gone.
Days Gone, yeah.
Yeah, like it's very much like leaning toward that like end of days apocalypse type, really dire type situations. But I personally love those games more than I like the lighthearted games. But I think they've done a fairly good job at that plethora of shit, especially
It's
with.
They all just. I feel like if I were to take just a random like screenshot, just the camera kind of in a neutral position out of like last of their 5 biggest games.
Sure.
Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Bloodborne too. I think kind of fits this, even though it's not Sony.
Sort of, yeah.
But I think that if you take a picture from the back of just like a neutral camera angle and don't have like any weird stuff in the frame, I think all of those games could look like they exist in the same game.
Possibly.
Or it's like those. Have you seen those? They're like minimalistic posters where they take the color schemes from different frames of like movies and they kind of like kind of make it into just one, basically a graph. I feel like that's how it would be.
And
like
I feel like
they all kind of like have
Possibly,
like
But
the
I
same
feel
colors.
like if you take Spider-Man and put it in there, it's like, oh, that's weird. That's jarring. This
Sure.
is different, and that's good.
Yeah, but possibly. I mean, that also speaks toward what people are buying, right? So, like,
That's true.
You have 2 different Sony exclusive games in Uncharted 4 and Horizon Zero Dawn. I understand Horizon is a brand new IP. However, it had just as much, kind of backing as an Uncharted game does. Because,
Horizon Zero Dawn is better than Uncharted 4.
right, but you see, people want Uncharted. People want that dark, grimy, like feel, or even Bloodborne, right? I think Bloodborne probably sold better than Horizon Zero Dawn. I would guess it did.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Unfortunately. Well, I don't know. Unfortunately, I like Bloodborne better.
Bloodborne's a great game. I hope a lot of people bought it.
Yeah, but that's what, like, I think Sony definitely has their pulse on what's selling, and that's what they're doing. But I agree with you. I hope this shows them it's like people want that not kind or lighthearted, but that people want different, right? And Spider-Man's 100% different. Spider-Man is not Batman. You can't put these two games together and be like, oh, yep, they're the exact same game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, people, like, at the end of the day, like, people still want that escape from
Sure.
whatever it is they're doing. And it's like, sometimes going into like a Bloodborne or something might not be that. You want to go swing around, be Spider-Man.
Also, just to, one last final thought about exclusives. With the way that Microsoft seems to be handling their IP and their exclusives and the direction that they're going, they're never going to compete with Sony, at least not in a reasonable amount of time.
Nope.
Like there was a news story last week that obviously like Halo 5 had microtransactions, but it sounds like Halo Infinite is kind of going that games of service route. And it's like,
well, I mean, Destiny's a game of service. Is that
sure,
what they
but
mean?
Destiny, I don't think Destiny.
Is that not what they mean?
That's what I kind of took from there. I kind of took that it was maybe going a Destiny
Okay, what about
route.
Diablo? Diablo's a games of service.
Yeah, but I also think too that like, I don't know. This might just be me with my head up my own ass a little bit, but I don't think that if I take all these Sony games that I've been talking about and compare them to these games of services like Destiny or Diablo, I don't think they compare. I think you get more game time, and I think there's a little bit more longevity in those games. But I would say that all 6 of these games that we've been talking about from Sony are technically better experiences than Destiny and Diablo.
Uncharted's not.
Yeah, I could see that. I like Uncharted a lot, but as a game, it's still a game and it plays like shit. So that's my problem with Microsoft right now is that I think, I mean, they're doing what they want to do and that's cool, but it seems weird that it kind of looks like they're taking that multiplayer games of services route, rather than sticking to kind of the story driven route, which was a 360 thing. Like we were just talking about Fable 2 the other day. I can't imagine in 2018 Microsoft making another game like Fable 2, and that game is so fucking special. It's kind of sad to me.
Yep.
Because they have a lot of great IP. They really could do some cool things, and they were trouncing Sony for an entire generation.
Yep. Single player is not dead. I don't think that is. I think that's a debate that's been going on and raging in the internet for a while now. I don't think it's dead. I think it's less of a. I
Just
think
can't
it's
make
less,
as much money off of it.
It's less prominent now, but yeah, I don't think it's dead. Is that cord glowing? The one that's plugged into the wall.
Yes.
It's because that's an exposed wire, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might just. It doesn't look exposed. It looks like there's a cover on it, and it's just.
I'm pretty sure that's the reflective.
Nope. Is that just a reflectiveness, or is that a glowing?
Oh fuck! You're right.
Sure as hell looked like a glowing wire.
Yeah, no, it's one of those like shiny like tags. You were so right. I
was right.
No, but like seriously, I was looking at it and I was like, "There's no fucking
that
way."
Sure
that's
as
a
hell
tag.
looked like the.
It had like an orange.
It
glow
looked
to
like
it.
the rubber was peeled back on that extension cord, and one of the wires inside an extension cord was just glowing
But I've seen
bright orange.
those extension cords before where it's clear
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
tip and it makes a light to prove that the thing is
scared
working.
the shit out of me. It's like, oh my god, unplug that now.
But yeah,
Oh man.
that's Spider-Man, guys. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Did we
Go
want
play
to
Destiny.
Did we want to talk about like? We briefly touched on other superhero games. Do we want to talk about like any future superhero games that we hope to see? I mean,
Magneto.
where we want it to go. Magneto.
I
Yeah, we
mean,
did talk about that.
Magneto and Red Hood. That's all I care about.
I don't know. I don't know what anyone's gonna do with anything, and
I mean, we can talk about.
I mean, if you have
Avengers,
if you have something specifically, but here's my thing. Like, I very much am on the side of you can throw any IP at any developer and say that, but you kind of have to show me before I have faith. Like, I don't believe that an Avengers game is going to work.
Right. So here's the issue too: is that Spider-Man. This game's been in development way longer than Marvel has owned Spider-Man. It just has. Before Homecoming, some games take 4 or 5 years of development time. So Marvel getting the rights to Spider-Man to put Spider-Man into the Avengers stuff happened after this game started being developed. Here's the problem with this though. is that Marvel, there's a reason Marvel Heroes is not a thing anymore. It wasn't because Gazillion went bankrupt. It wasn't because Gazillion couldn't support the game. It's because Marvel shut it down because it doesn't follow the cinematic universe. Yep. The problem with at least Marvel games now is you're not going to get a Spider-Man experience in Marvel characters anymore because they're all tied to the cinematic universe. Hell, man, even some of the comic books feel like they're being tied into the cinematic universe to an extent, not totally. But you're seeing this thing where like the whoever the Marvel Cinematic Disney, right? Disney is the thing. Disney's not letting people have liberties with things if it's under the Marvel brand. I'm
they don't want it to be non-canon.
I'm honestly surprised this game made it out.
Marvel
I really am.
Marvel was very involved when they made story decisions. They
Sure.
had to take it past Marvel. Dan Slott is actually was a consultant on the
Sure,
game.
but my point being is like I'm, and it's because Disney doesn't fully own Spider-Man yet. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Not fully yet.
Do they still not?
The reason why Spider-Man is in the Avenger movies is because they made a deal with Sony.
Right.
Sony still has the rights.
Right.
Sony still has the rights to use his rogues gallery and different villains and different stuff, and they also still have video game rights.
Yeah. So that's why this game actually made it. Still kind of surprised it did, but that's why this game exists. So, but that's also why you're never going to see an Avengers game, or you're never going to see a flat Iron Man game or a Captain America game, because Disney owns it all of it. Hell, I think they own it. I think like it's final.
At this point, they pretty much own everything except for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Right.
I was going to say because
they got X-Men.
They bought
fairly.
Fox.
Yeah, they
20th
own
Century
everything.
Fox,
And so that's the issue, is that now it's like, man, what could we see? It's like, well, slow your roll, because we're probably not going to see a whole lot because Disney still owns it all.
Yeah.
And we see what Disney has done with the video game franchises of the things they own. Star Wars.
Yeah, Lucas.
Well,
Look what they've done.
I think Marvel's going to be in a much better position in terms of its games than Star Wars, because I think that Disney's learned its lesson.
Sure.
I think they aren't going to give single rights to anything.
Sure.
To anyone.
And that was going to be my next point, is that I hope this game shows Disney that superhero games can exist outside of your universe and they can be extremely successful. I can't wait to see NPD. I think NPDs are next week. I can't wait to see NPDs because I want to know how high Spider-Man got.
I hope
Will that be on this one?
Oh, no, it'd be next month. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to see NPDs next month because I want to know how high Spider-Man
We'll
got.
be getting next month's MPDs in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be like the middle of October when we get September. But I do hope that here. I think that they can put everything in the same universe. And
Sure,
I
of
think
course they can.
But I hope that they still like keep that distance. Like I like in Spider-Man that the Avengers Tower is there and you can go to it. And I like that Doctor Strange.
Can you go in it?
You can like go to the landing.
You can go to the
that's
landing
cool.
pad on top,
That's
yeah.
really cool.
I like that the Defenders and Doctor Strange and all that exists in this world, but I also like that there's a little
really?
bit of distance between them.
That's pretty good.
And I hope they keep that. I hope they all exist in the same world. I hope that this Spider-Man is in the Avengers, universe for the next Avengers game. But I also hope they keep that distance.
What Avengers game?
The one by Crystal Dynamics. Crystal Dynamics.
Square Enix, the one we thought was coming this year.
Oh
This
no,
year. No, we thought it was going to be at E3.
I thought it was gonna be announced,
Yeah,
like
that's
actually
what we-
show.
that's what we mean.
Something, yeah.
But at the same time, like I said earlier, like you don't really need to sell a Spider-Man game too hard because you basically just had to be slightly better than Spider-Man 2, which it is. Good job. But with an Avengers game or any other IP, like I'm not gonna get overhyped or like talk about what I want because you got to show it to me. You got to prove that you can do it before I believe in it.
Yeah, I think that's my thing. Like, because I was trying to think of it too. I was like, like what other superhero would make a good game? And yes, I understand. Like, there
Magneto would not make a good superhero game.
there are characters that
No,
we
Magneto
would
make
love
a
to see.
great-ass game.
I don't think it would.
See, we would love to see some characters
Maybe.
in games, but like
Red Hood would.
Spider-Man works so perfectly as a game because Spider-Man as a character would do these side missions and all these collectibles and all these like little things that like Magneto or somebody like wouldn't give two fucks about.
Right.
Like I don't know, it works
Yeah,
like or
Magneto's not
even
gonna
like
go-
a
Magneto's not going to go around and collect lug nuts.
yeah, or even like a Captain America or Thor or like a not villain but like just a more traditional hero. They probably wouldn't go around doing these things around New York.
But you
either.
say that, and to an extent, like Batman wouldn't go around collecting Riddler trophies,
But he'd be looking for Riddler.
But he would, because he's looking for Riddler,
Yeah.
right? So making those collectible things work in a superhero game, it's just another facet of like good game development.
yeah, I just feel like for Spider-Man,
thing-
it's not necessarily apparent, but it's like it's
The thing
it's
that's
a little
special.
bit easier.
The thing that's special about Spider-Man is not all the side content.
No.
At the end of the day, as far as like how it functions as an open world game, it's not any different than the other 12 that have come out this year. The reason why Spider-Man works is because the swinging works, the combat works, and the story is incredible. If you can get those three right, if you can get character movement, combat, and a good story, it doesn't matter what the side content is. It doesn't matter if the side content exists at all. If Spider-Man didn't get those three things right, no one would give a shit about the fucking backpacks or the landmarks.
Well, not necessarily like the collectibles themselves, but it's like the
side missions.
Well, not the side missions, just the city traversal. Like, I feel like for Spider-Man, like that is a character who literally like swings through the city and deals with people on the way.
You're also operating on the baseline that every game has to be like Spider-Man. Like you can
Right,
do a
yeah.
Diablo style game where the world is under attack and you have 4 different Avengers that you can choose and you're dropped into one zone and that's the zone. It's not necessarily open world, but you do have some exploration. Not saying that would be a great game. I'm not a game developer, but not every game has to be set in a city, and you don't need to have Captain America with a zip hook or whatever, like swinging around the city. You know, like
Literally just a reskin of Spider-Man. as Captain
yeah, I
America.
mean, like Spider-Man's really good. It's a really good open world game, but like if the Crystal Dynamics Avengers game is an open world game, I will be really surprised because I really don't think an Avengers open world game would work.
yeah, I couldn't see how that would work.
I 100% agree. Just would not work. But again, it's hard to make a superhero game. It's really hard to tell a superhero story in media, comics and movies and TV shows and cartoons. But I think it's really, really hard to make a superhero game, which is why we've literally only gotten 2 amazing superhero games in the lifespan of video games in the last 20 years. It's really hard to make a superhero game. It just is. And not taking anything away from Insomniac, right?
It is
Not taking anything away from Insomniac, but they picked the easiest superhero in the world to make a game about.
Well, I think this game was shocking to me in the same way that Horizon Zero Dawn was, because I really think, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I think that Insomniac is a very inconsistent developer.
Totally, 100%.
I think that the quality of their games ranges so ridiculously that Spider-Man legitimately could have gone other way. And the quality of Spider-Man surpasses literally everything they've done. And it is a recent Sony quality game, which is shocking to me. I really did not have as much faith in Insomniac as I do now.
Sure, because this is the same developer of Jak and Daxter. Like, they're fine, but they're not great. I wouldn't put Jak and Daxter on the scale of great in video games ever.
Yeah,
Just
like
not.
good.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, and I agree with Trey. It's like it's pretty surprising seeing Insomniac make across the board a 9 and 10 game. But again, another unpopular opinion by me probably is that they got the easiest superhero in the world to make a game about. He just is. It's Spider-Man. He's super easy to make a game about.
He works well in the video games.
Yeah, he works super well, and that's not taking anything away from him. That's not taking anything away from Spider-Man. He just works really well in an interactive medium, where other characters just don't. I'm actually surprised Rocksteady did Batman as well as they did.
I think Batman's another one of those characters that's
maybe you're right.
fairly
Yeah,
easy.
it's the because you got to think about traversal and you got to think about how they fight and all this other. Batman glides across the world all the time. He goes grappling. And
They also made it really easy on themselves because the first one is a Metroidvania.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
true.
an open world
Yeah,
game.
it's true. They didn't go to open world to the last 2. But yeah, like and then you think about what characters would be awesome in a video game. Oh man, it'd be so cool to see Magneto, but like Magneto wouldn't be a good character. It would.
It's the
it'd
rough
be
thing about comic
Be
books.
cool about it'd be super interesting, but I just as a video game interactive medium, it just doesn't seem like it would work.
But it's a rough thing about comic books because, like, of course, there are characters that I want to be made into a video game, but the characters that I really care about are never gonna. They might be a side character in another video game, but you're never gonna see a Scarlet Spider game.
You're never going to see his. Nobody knows who's Ben Riley. Right. You're never going to see Ben Riley in a video game.
Yeah.
Who's been Riley?
Ben Riley's one of the clones.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a clone of Peter Parker.
There's many.
Yeah, he dyed his hair blonde and had an existential crisis. He took over as Spider-Man while Spider-Man took a break. Then he died, and then he came back as a Jackal and tried to bring everyone that Spider-Man knows back to life.
Yep.
He came back as the Jackal.
Yes.
Yeah, he killed the Jackal because the Jackal was killing him and rebirthing him. and he just went crazy and killed him. Now he's in Las Vegas trying to get his mind back together, because he can either like death has told him that his soul will either like turn black and he'll like become a crazy person, or he can go back to the guy he was if he just tries really hard. But he's like morally complicated now. Also, the other Scarlet Spider, Kane, is hanging out in Las Vegas too. He's cool.
Yeah, Kane's very cool. Kane's like a fucking like this dude will kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Kane
Spider-Man.
Kane is the Red
That's cool
Hood of the Spider-Man
Sure, yeah.
characters.
And then you got Superior, who is also a clone of Peter that the Jackal was creating, that Doc Ock was able to transfer his consciousness into after Peter died.
Yeah. So now he's a Superior Octopus. He just got hired by Horizon Labs, which previously hired Peter Parker. And in fact, Dr. Octopus worked as Peter Parker there when he took over his mind.
Yeah.
Before they shut down and like went on a
for a long time,
boat.
Doc Ock ran Parker Industries until Peter got his body back and shut it down.
And the comics right now, Peter Parker lost his PhD for plagiarism. Because,
What?
yeah, because the PhD was gotten when Dr. Octopus was in his body.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
This university made a software to where they can detect plagiarism,
pretty
and it's
funny.
attributed to Otto Octavius. So now he's going back to college.
That's pretty
but
good.
he's like Dr. Kurt Connors, the lizard, is the one that's in charge of this class, and that he's trying to figure out a way to like get the lizard part out of him.
You know, sometimes comic book storylines just sound like a fever
I
dream.
feel like that
It's
was
just
like, I feel like they got away from like, because what makes, and I hate Spider-Man as a character, but what makes him super relatable is because he is just a guy in school trying to be a superhero. I hate that they did. I like it. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like he doesn't need to go back to school
Part of the
to
prob-
make Spider-Man work.
Part of the problem is that the Dan Slott's not writing him anymore.
There you go.
It's a different guy.
There's your problem right
And
there.
it's not awful. Like the first storyline.
Yeah, but Dan Slott made Spider-Man outside of school work.
Yeah, but, like Dan Slott was fucking crazy. Like if you think about like all the shit Peter Parker went through with
Didn't Dan Slott do the Spider-Verse? He's the one that he was the brainchild that came up with
Spider
Spider-Verse.
Island. He did Spider-Verse. He
Spider
did like
Island.
the whole.
You ready for this? There's literally a group of vampires that go across the universes feeding on Spider-Man.
like that's like their
That
food.
is their that is their food. And this is something Dan Slott came up with, and it's genius.
And so all these different Spider-Men, Spider-Gwen, all these Spider-Man from different universes get together. And so the crazy part is though,
Is this what Into the
So,
Spider-Verse is going
Superior-
to be about?
Superior, yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse is based off of this. So Superior
I don't
Spider-Man.
think the vampires will be there. That's a,
We'll
it's a
see.
little crazy.
But if not, they'll be in the sequel. But basically, in the past, they pull Superior Spider-Man out
Yep.
and have him here, and then the modern Peter Parker from the same universe is there. So they literally have the same guy from two different points in the timeline
Yep.
that are there, like hanging out and fighting vampires.
That's how they brought Superior back for like that little run, which is really cool seeing Superior again. But then he's back as Superior Octopus, which he's a fucking awesome character. Works for Hydra.
Like I
Just a
said,
really good haircut.
Like I said, sometimes comic book
Has he got the
storylines
undercut?
just sound like a
Yeah.
crazy man's dream.
Dude, comic books are fucking crazy, dude. It doesn't make
They're
sense.
hard to follow.
It just doesn't make sense.
That's the thing, though. Like I can.
But however, Marvel comics, not all DC get DC. Some of them are a little bit more grounded, but Marvel comics get fucking crazy because you got cosmic entities at work in Marvel most of the time.
But,
Here's
but
the
with
thing
DC, it's like, oh, the Flash, he broke the world. So
Sure, but that doesn't
you
happen.
know.
But that doesn't happen often.
Here's the thing about like with
Flashpoint
It
doesn't.
happens sometimes.
Flashpoint doesn't happen often.
with comic books, like I can tell you the last 10 years of stuff that Spider-Man has done, but and I understand it completely. I understand the last years of 10 years of Spider-Man comics that I've read. But if you say it out loud and you're trying to describe it to
Sure.
someone, they'll never pick it up.
Explaining the
But-
last 10 years of Spider-Man is like explaining somebody the story to Kingdom
But
Hearts who's
if
never played it.
If I brought you a stack of all these books and was like, read them, and you read all of them, you would have the same level of understanding about it as I do.
Which is why I like DC better. I've always loved DC much better just because it's a little bit more grounded. I understand that Superman exists and Darkseid exists. However, that's not what makes DC amazing. What makes DC amazing is like, especially the Bat family, because there's no superpowers in the Bat family.
aside from the Bat family and Green Lantern, I'm not a big fan of DC.
And even Green Lantern. The Green Lantern, they work for a cosmic police force, and it's more grounded than Marvel Comics half the time.
If you guys like what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play Store, wherever you can listen to us at.
we're not on Stitcher, right?
We're not on
That's the
Stitcher.
thing.
I keep saying that. Don't follow us on Stitcher. You can, I've said it for 3 years. I got to break it. You can follow all of us on Twitter as well. I am at Darth Trey. Chris is at Short Change Hero with a 3 instead of the E in Hero. And Justin is at Justin T. Lopez. Show is produced by Everett. Give him a follow on Twitter at the56th. All letters, no numbers. And the show is edited by Connor Manning. Follow him on Twitter at Connor13. One in Connor, 13 spelled out. And follow stuff he does for Downstream Studios at downstreamstudios.com. Hire him to produce your next album or spoken
Absolutely.
words.
Does he
album.
do spoken word albums now?
I mean, you could, if you can do a regular album, you could do a spoken word
I
one
don't know.
too.
I think you gotta have when I was younger, I would have said like younger before I was like a musician. Like rap was like kind of dumb, right? It's just dumb. But as I've gotten older and understand it, it's like you really got to have a certain talent to be able to pull some of that shit off.
So are you
Not
saying that
like-
you need the same amount of talent to do a spoken word album?
I don't know, because isn't spoken word basically just like rap though? Because
I know, I
you're
kinda-
kind of talking to
I
a
think
specific
about like
beat,
that
right?
William Shatner, like Rocket Man.
What?
Watch it. It's literally like William Shatner is just speaking the lyrics to Rocket Man. He's not singing. He's just
not
like
rapping.
No, the music is just playing behind him, and he's like, "I'm a rocket man," and I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
Because
He was like just speaking the lyrics of Rocket.
maybe I don't know, but I saw a video of
It's more
childish.
of like that's more of a dramatic reading than anything.
Okay,
Sure.
cool.
I
Dramatic
found-
reading
I
of
found
Rocket Man.
I saw a video of it's not, is it Childish Gambino?
Mhm.
I found a video of Donald Glover. Let's call him Donald Glover. 'cause
They're
it's-
twins.
Lando Calrissian.
Yes, I saw a video, but he was on Sway. He used to be a VJ on MTV back in the 90s. He has his own XM Serious show. There's a video of him interviewing Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, and he puts a beat on, and Gambino just starts rapping, and it's really fucking good. And then all of a sudden he stops and kind of has a conversation and asks Sway a question, and then starts rapping again. So that whole like he's rapping, and then he just starts talking like normal and right back into rapping, and it all made sense. It's like whoa,
He's
holy,
super, dude. He's super talented.
holy shit, man!
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's why I liked "This Is America" so much.
Yeah, This Is America's a great song. Good shit.
As is most of his other music.
Yeah,
That's the only song of his that I know.
That's just
album's
sad.
good.
He was, that
I
was
don't like rap. I also don't really like music.
you should like rap. You
Like
should.
you know that.
Here's your
joke-
homework. Go home, YouTube '90s rap, and just listen
you know that.
because it's amazing.
specifically Will Smith.
You know that
What
joke.
the fuck is wrong with you?
You know that joke that's like the worst question you can ask on a date is, "Do you like music?" Because literally everyone likes music. I'm like the 1% of people who just don't really like music.
So you're going to be very happy with what I'm about to say about music. The other day, when I go to bed, I like to get on YouTube and I just kind of go down rabbit holes. I went down a rabbit hole of covers of songs.
Love covers.
Sure. So I started with Toto's cover of Weezer's Hash Pipe, which I'm going to say this now. Weezer covering Toto and Toto covering Weezer. Have you seen all this? Weezer covered Toto's Africa.
Did they?
Let's raise
Oh,
down
yeah.
and
I
out.
love that song.
So
It got really popular.
that just shows how much better Toto are as musicians than Weezer. I love Weezer. Weezer's easily top 5 bands for me, but it just shows Toto's so much better. Anyway, Toto, they covered Hash Pipe. Super fucking great. Good God, Toto's amazing. But then I started going deeper like into like newer bands covering songs, and I hit the Bohemian Rhapsody by Panic at the Disco. Then I went down a Panic at the Disco rabbit hole and on YouTube. That dude is fucking
He's
talented.
so
as
talented.
shit.
Brendan Urie.
That
So good.
dude is fucking amazing.
Yes.
He is one of the. I legitimately believe this. He is one of the most talented musicians of our generation, and I think
Yes.
he is the most talented vocalist.
Yeah, I
Yes.
could.
of the last like 40
I
years.
could not agree with you more,
His
dude.
his,
Holy
his
mother of
vocal
God.
range is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whenever we did that filming with him, he would like obviously for the music video, like he wasn't full out like singing. He was
Yeah.
mouthing it and they would play it over it. But like in between things, like like him and his band, like they would just be like, "Hey, what do you want us to play?" And like some people would say something, and like he would bust out some notes,
They
and like
did-
literally, I want to say he has like perfect pitch because like
Oh, yeah.
literally he
No,
would
he's-
hit these things.
There's a few where he's a little off.
All right,
This
maybe a
coming
little,
this coming from somebody who's like, yeah,
maybe a little off,
yeah.
but like,
but it's not.
these,
It's not
these high
like-
notes that he's hitting. It's like,
That's not downplaying Brendan Urie because and this is why it's like freaking coming from a guy who's been playing music for 20 years with a shit ton of musicians all over the freaking world. That dude's fucking amazing.
He's so good.
I saw Panic do a cover of Carry On My Wayward Son.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fucking shit. Minus the guitar playing super sloppy, but just his vocal was fucking dead on, man. It's stupid how good he is.
I've heard hundreds of covers of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Theirs is hands down one of the best.
I think
Because they stayed true to the song.
Yeah, I think his is the only good one I've ever heard.
It's because they're the only band that's ever stayed true to the song.
Yeah.
They kept it the exact same. There's songs you just don't mess with, right? If you're gonna cover Stairway to Heaven, you don't fuck with it. You just cover Stairway to Heaven. That's it. Just hope to God you can hit those notes.
Just get Brendan Urie
But
to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. I'm glad he's just one of those people. Like Panic at the Disco is one of those bands that like people have their own memories of.
Sure.
And so when you try to describe like why you love them to people,
Sure.
they don't believe you. But then someone does what
Sure.
you did, and they're like, "Oh no, Trey's not
Sure.
crazy."
Yeah, no, he's not crazy. Now, then I went to listen to like their albums. They're okay. I'm not a fan of their music, but I am a fan of Brendan Urie.
I think their fourth album is my favorite.
Okay, I don't think I got that far.
Is that-
I got the first.
Too
that gospel?
Too Weird to
This is
Live, Too Weird to
gospel?
Die. Yeah, This is Gospel is my favorite song. of all
However, I
time.
did.
But their
a
last
great
two
song.
albums, they have some good songs on them, but they're very different than what I would
Okay,
want
I did
from
their latest
them.
album and the one before that, and then the original. I write.
Oh, I
Sins
write.
Not-
That's
a
a fever
good
you can't sweat out.
Well, that song, I Write Sins Not Tragedies, is a really fucking cool song.
So she's just fucking cool, and so I just love him so much because every album he kind of takes a different approach to his music. Like
As
his
you
first
should.
album is very much
As you
like
should.
Cabaret. His second album is very Beatles inspired. His third album and fourth album are a little bit similar. His fifth album is inspired.
Trey knows who the Beatles are.
Yeah.
This is fucking weird.
The fifth album is kind of inspired by like those 50s like
Kind of like the like doo-wop.
what the fuck is that guy's name? Frank Sinatra. Sorry. Frank Sinatra,
yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of that
40s.
style. 40s. Oh, I thought he was 50s. That 40s style, like kind of just singing thing. And
Big
then,
band.
Big band.
Mhm,
Exactly.
that's what it is,
Perfect.
yeah.
And then the sixth album is more like modern pop. And that's the crazy thing about him as a musician is it's just like, there are some albums that you're really going to like because you like that style of music. But you can't say that like after 10 years of him making music, and the same with that you can about Fall Out Boy, that it sounds exactly the same. Like Fall Out Boy has not evolved in 10 years. And
Yeah,
that's why they are not as good as
Sure,
Panic at the
absolutely.
Disco.
Also, because Pete White, what's his name?
Pete Wentz.
He's still the bass player, and he's not a good bass player. Sorry, guys. He's
Yeah.
not.
Panic has changed musicians quite often.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan is the only original member on
Which is
Panic.
good. That's actually really, really good.
He is Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with Brendan Urie. Like, it's insane that I'd never actually like sat down and listened to it
That-
before.
that
the
makes
dude
me happy,
can do a
especially-
sick ass backflip too.
Yeah, no, that's good.
That makes me happy, especially coming from someone that like knows music as
Yeah.
well as you do. 'cause-
However, I would pay handsomely for an album of just him doing covers. Because he also did a cover of Tonight by the Smashing Pumpkins. Holy shit, that was so good. Anyway, it's good
Yeah.
stuff.
all right, guys, we'll see you next week. Join us for Panic at the Disco cast.